them as they lost to the Raiders big, 41-24. In fact, in 2 games last year, the Titans gave up 93 points to the Oakland Raiders. Joe, you'd have to say pretty much that the Raiders own these guys.
Yeah, Mike, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think that's what the Raiders will do tonight. Look for them to go with their 3, maybe 4 wide, spread out that Titan defense. Rich Gannon threw 7 touchdowns in those 2 games, no interceptions. I don't see it being a whole lot different, the approach they want to take tonight.
The Titans are looking for some revenge tonight after those 2 beatings last year. And, Paul, they go into the season, they're finally healthy.
Yeah, the first time in probably 4 years that they've been healthy at the quarterback position with Steve McNair and also with Eddie George at the running back. Neither one of these guys had a problem at the end of last season. They went right into training camp. They played very well in the preseason. They didn't even get a nick. They are ready to play.
Chris, we'll be back to see you in just a few minutes. Our special kickoff time tonight is 7:50. Join us then. Big as well. They return that high-flying offense intact, trying for another run at the championship. The Titans are looking for some payback after last year, and for the first time in years, they are healthy. Talented and healthy, Joe, that's a pretty good combination, especially when you start with Eddie George and Steve McNair.
Mike, as soon as we can dry our eyes after that opening, we'll get going. Eddie George used to be the centerpiece of this football team with his legs. Now it's Steve McNair. He not only does it with his arm, but he also does it with his leg. Steve McNair was the 3rd-place finisher in MVP balloting a year ago. He's looking for respect in this football game. The Raiders are going to have to be conscious not only of his throwing, but really stopping him run the football. 7 months ago, Rich Gannon lived a nightmare. It was called Super Bowl 17. But the thing about Rich Gannon is tonight it gets to end. It was the most humiliating day of his life. Thank goodness the opener is here for Rich Gannon.
All right, thank you, Joe. And this game should be big enough all by itself. But, Paul, there's something else going on tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, when you talk about the receiving core of the Raiders, you think about Hall of Famers Jerry Rice and Tim Brown. But tonight there's an X factor in this game. His name is Jerry Porter. Jerry Porter last year caught as many touchdowns as both of these guys combined. Now, Tennessee, we know that they struggled on pass defense. What are they going to do? They're going to take a safety. That's right, a safety. Lance shoulders down to cover Jerry Porter. Jerry Porter said, there isn't a safety in all of football that can cover me man-to-man. These 2 guys have been jawing at each other for almost a year. Lance shoulders after the championship game called Tim Brown a crybaby. Well, Jerry Porter had to defend him, so he called Lance shoulders a girl. Well, tonight we'll see who smacks who in the mouth.
All right, Paul, thank you. And Visa presents Skycam, innovative technology on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Skycam provides some of the most unique and memorable images ever seen from angles that no other single camera in the world can achieve. We're excited to bring it to you every Sunday night. And when we come back, Susie Culver with the remarkable Rod Woodson, the owner of 69 career interceptions.
Double moves, everything. Deep and short all day long. We have a whole bunch of fun, baby. Anybody wearing silver and black, we hitting hard, baby. DB's on 3. 1, 2, 3, DB.
Welcome back to the Coliseum in Nashville. Tonight we have Rod Woodson wired so you can hear inside the game. And the future Hall of Famer is standing by with Susie.
Well, Mike, Rod is closing in on the career record for interceptions. Tonight, you go against your favorite guy, Steve McNair. You've got 6 interceptions against him. What do you do so well against Steve?
I really don't know. You know, that's just been lucky. I got a couple of tenths last year against the guy. But, you know, they're going to have a lot of emotions coming out here today. And we just have to match that emotion early. If we can do that, I think we're going to be all right.
Last year, you become the oldest in the NFL to lead the league in interceptions. What's the key to the longevity?
Luck. That's what it is, luck. Preparation compared with luck, I think all together. You can get some plays, you make some plays, you can help your team win, then you're doing all right.
You do a lot of teaching, directing. We've got you mic'd up tonight. What might we hear from you?
Hopefully nothing bad, but hopefully that we can get out here and be on the same page. Luckily for us, we're in their house, so as a defense, we'll be able to hear each other a little bit. So we can stay on the same page and not give them any deep balls, and we'll be all right.
Have a great night.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Susie, thank you very much. A sellout crowd here at the Coliseum in Nashville. These teams more than ready to kick off the 2003 season. Joe Nedney has it teed up at the 30. And that is Ronnie Jenkins. 2 years ago, he led the NFL in kick return yardage. And a needed addition to this ball club whose special teams were not particularly special. Jenkins from the 3. And a nice return by Jenkins across the 35. Richie Gannon did everything last year. The MVP of the league. He threw for 4,689 yards, set NFL records for 10 300-yard passing games, 418 completions, and then it crashed down around his head.
But the biggest challenge tonight is will he be able to communicate all those adjustments that are required to run this offense?
And this has to be the loudest place outdoors in the NFL. Gannon short set and immediately goes to his tight end, Doug Jolly. Schulters rips it loose, but after he's out of bounds. Here's the Raiders offense. Up front, Matt Stinchcomb is the new center on a powerful line. He won a three-way battle for the job. An unbelievable collection of talent in the passing game, led by Jerry Rice, holder of every receiving record worth having. Rich Gannon had his share of huge numbers, as we said last year, league MVP, all the rest, but it came apart in the Super Bowl. Second down, movement up front, and flags.
That's exactly what I was talking about. The wide receivers are going to have to look into the ball before they can move so they won't get the edge. And also, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on the tackles, Sims and Kennedy, to find out when the ball snapped.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Number 65, offense, 5 yards, still second down.
That's Barry Sims, the starting left tackle, the fifth-year man out of Utah. We talked to him a couple of days ago, and he said he was really working hard on his inside protection to keep Javon Curse away from Richie Gannon.
The thing about it is, you got Javon Curse on his football team. He will move around. He'll either play left end or right end, and sometimes they'll go with actually 4 defensive ends at one time.
This time, Tim Brown is in the slot to the near side. And Rich Gannon has to take a timeout. This crowd has already been a factor, and we played 1 minute and 6 seconds. Raiders on offense, 2nd and 11. Joe, the crowd having a real impact.
Well, Mike, what it's going to do is it's going to make it tough for the Raiders to run their no-huddle offense because Rich won't be able to communicate as easily.
Screen pass, Charlie Garner. Charlie Garner must be the most underrated star in the National Football League. They don't win these big games without Charlie Garner.
Well, to think about it, what happens to your defense, though, you're concentrating on Brown, you're concentrating on Rice, and you're concentrating on Porter. Then they dump a screen out here. Look who is not there. There are no linebackers out there, and they've got to be out and respect Gardner.
Jolly and Johnson in a 2 tight end formation this time. Johnson, the rookie. Brown goes in motion. Flag is down, and they'll blow the play dead.
Before the ball was snapped, false start, number 65, offense, 5 yards, repeat first down.
That's 2 on Barry Sims, the starting left tackle. For Tennessee's defense, can Javon Curse return to his all-pro form? A broken foot derailed him a year ago. At linebacker, Keith Bullock is a rising star. Last season, the leading tackler on the club with 177. The secondary is a question mark, but Samari Rolle is not. A true shutdown corner that opponents usually try to stay away from. Garner goes out to a wing. He's the only setback. 4-man rush on Gannon. The pass intended for Jolly, incomplete. He was covered very well by Tank Williams, the strong safety.
Rich Gannon continuing to coach. You'll see he was pointing to Doug Jolly saying, take it up the field more. Jolly's only in his 2nd year, didn't play a whole lot in preseason because he was hurt. You've got Teo Johnson, their rookie, who they've converted from a wide receiver to a tight end. So Rich is really going to have to be a coach on the field for the Raiders tonight.
2nd and 15. No backs. Garner is a flanker to the near side. You're trying to get Porter back off the line of scrimmage. He's covering up the tight end. Gannon has to scramble. Reaches the 49. Bullock covered him up.
I'm going to tell you what, all those guys, they had 5 guys spread out wide, and they ended up blitzing Lance's shoulders. Now, how do you do that? It's still covered. Look on the left-hand side of the screen. You're going to see Lance's shoulders coming in. He forces Gannon out. There goes shoulders right there. Gannon has to go up in the middle, and they get him.
3rd and 9. The noise level here is insane. Another flag down.
They got
and Barry Sims is hoping it's not me.
It is.
Joe, you know what, and you've been in this situation, but you know what's happening is that the tackles, the guards in the center can barely hear. The tackles on the outside can't hear anything.
65, offense, 5 yards.
Watch the flinch of number 6. See him flinch? I got to be honest with you. I would think that he would be better off going into a 3-point stance. Because if you're in a 2-point stance with all this noise, the tendency is to rock a little to try and anticipate what you think is Rich's cadence. At least if you're down, you may not be able to see the end quite as easily, but at least you're not going to give up 15 yards like you already have.
You're going to the 3-point stance against Devon Kearse. You're never going to get out of it.
Because you got the tight end next to you.
3rd and 14. Little screen to Garner. Charlie Garner dives down to the 43. He's close. It looks like they're going to mark it maybe 1.5 yards shy.
You know what this noise does, really? It absolutely forces you to punt. Because you can't even take a chance coming to the line of scrimmage and try to get a quick count or any other kind of count with the noise that they would hear here. So they have to punt the ball.
Plus, I think early in the game, if you're the Raiders, you're on the road, you want to play it a little bit more conservatively. Make the Titans go the full length of the field if they have to.
Shane Leckler will kick it away. Justin McCairns waits inside his 10. Leckler end over end as he kicks the point of the ball and gets a fair catch at the 9. A 33-yard, perfectly positioned punt. Now it's Eddie George and the Titans' offense turn when we come back to Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans get the football for the first time in the 2003 season. They start from just inside their own 10-yard line with 11:05 on the first quarter clock.
You don't have to scream now for a couple more minutes.
No, I don't. It's unbelievable. Eddie George, the single setback. That's Aaron Kinney, the fullback slash tight end. McNair has to double pump. And that throws complete to Mason against Terrence Shaw, taken out at the 26. A gain of 16 yards.
This is all McNair. When you talked about him in the opening, Joe, and what he can do, it's his feet and his mind. He is as calm as I've ever seen him when we talk to him in the meeting. But watch what he does. He gives himself a chance to get this completion.
I'll say this, the offensive line gave him a bit of a chance too. That play action really helped him out. Look how quiet it is. Huh? Look how quiet. Huh?
Eddie George, healthy for the first time in 3 years, pounds it across the 30. The Titans' offensive line has a new starter center, Justin Hartwig, who never played the position until this training camp. A good set of receivers led by Derek Mason, coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for the first time in his career. And Steve McNair, healthy. That's good for the Titans, bad for defenses. Even with nagging injuries a year ago, he set multiple career highs.
And there's Eddie George on the first play. He carries the ball 5 yards.
McNair, short set, quick pass. Mason across the 40, fighting for extra yardage. First down, Titans. Terrence Shaw, second consecutive tackle.
Guys, I can't tell you how important it is to be able to communicate to receivers, and it's so quiet. But the thing about McNair is he will work to Mason because he's the guy that he's the most veteran, and he's the one that's the most comfortable. The other thing is he has an option of working against Terrace Shaw, whereas on the other side you have Drew Bennett being covered by Charles Woodson. I think Mason would get the brunt of my attention.
First down, Titans at their 41. McNair changing the play. Raiders may have jumped. McNair wanted a little swing pass. It's not there. Gets out of bounds, hit late, taken out. No flag. Eric Barton was the guy who got him inbounds, and now there's a late flag. It appeared that Barton hit him inbounds and took him out of bounds.
The flag isn't over here on Barton, Mike. The flag is over there for being either offside. We thought the Raiders were offside, but Barton, all he is doing, here's McNair coming to the sidelines. He still has the ball. He's still a runner as a threat, and at the end, he throws the ball away, and Barton's already in the area to hit him.
I think it's a good call.
And I think it places an onus on officials, too. I think officials have to realize, like Jeff Fisher has Steve McNair. You've got Tony Dungy, say, in Indianapolis, that only has a stationary Peyton Manning. If McNair can run, you have to treat him as a runner.
Oakland's already been hit with 4 flags for 20 yards. Nothing new for the Raiders. McNair flushed out again. Throws on the run, and it's dropped. Wycheck was wide open, and for one of the few times you'll ever see, he didn't make the catch.
You want to see frustration, Joe? Perella. He thought he had him.
Little play action fake. Perella, number 97. I got him. No, I don't. Now I'm not going to catch him. The thing that happens, and the thing that Steve McNair does so well, is when he makes the turn up the field, he turns his shoulders, he throws the ball better than anybody in football going to his left for a right-handed quarterback. And like we said, we ought to preserve that picture because very seldom do you ever see Frank Wycheck put the ball on the ground.
Wycheck coming off of the serious concussion in the preseason. One of the most reliable guys there are. Eddie George pounds for about 3. We had this game down in Tennessee when Frank, the 11-year veteran, was injured during the preseason. And he said it was his 3rd since 2000 and the 10th of his career. He got whacked in the helmet. And fortunately, he wasn't seriously injured. They said it was funny because Jeff Fisher ran out on the field and Wycheck, who was out cold, was snoring.
I also saw Frank at the hotel earlier today, and he looked at me and I said, "How you doing?" He said, "I'm really curious to see what happens when I get hit the first time tonight." So far, so good.
3rd and 2. Pressure coming on McNair. Incomplete. Flag on Shaw. Interference against Justin McCarron.
Terrence Shaw had no chance. He was already beaten, and then he got into the face of the receiver. And when you're beaten, if he turns around, he may have a chance. But he had no chance on this ball. McCarron's just played it perfectly. He slows down. Watch McCarron slow down. Now, Shaw has nothing to do except to run into him. And then he gets his hands up in his face. There is just no place to go.
He can't see the ball to time it. And what happens from a receiver standpoint, if you're underthrown, I'd say 9 out of 10 times you're going to get a flag drawn on you in this football era today.
You know, the contact was minimal, and without the contact, there's no penalty, even though Shaw didn't turn around.
He hits him in the face a little bit, so that's it.
Tennessee has gone from inside its own 10 to the Raiders' 15-yard line on their opening possession. Eddie George, toss sweep, cuts it back, and that's something he could not do for the last 2 years. With a foot and ankle injury, he could simply not cut. Now he can run downhill again.
You know, it's so it really is. They know it, and people just criticized him, and the guy couldn't run, but yet he played. He couldn't do this a year ago, folks. He couldn't cut back inside and get himself in a position where he can unload on a linebacker or a defensive back. Those are things he couldn't do.
When you see Rod Woodson, 17 years, he knows when Eddie George is coming downhill, you go for the ankles.
Or duck.
2nd and 5 for the Titans. An impressive opening drive. George again. Play action, fake in the pass. Tyrone Calico, the rookie, makes his first catch.
Well, this is a great throw and a great catch. But I'll tell you, Bill Romanowski, you talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. He had no place to go.
If he comes up to try and put pressure on McNair, you saw what happened.
Joe Nedney for the point after, and it hit the upright.
Bad snap.
What a job by Craig Hendrick, though.
Hendrick got it down, so at least Nedney had a shot, but banged it off the post. But 6-0 Tennessee on a 90-yard drive. A 4-minute, 18-second drive that went 90 yards, but they don't get the PAT, Paul.
No, Craig Hendrick did a great job, though. Look at this. He goes up in the air, gets down, and still gets the ball down. It's hard. It really is hard for the kicker to stop and then restart.
Nedney had to try to kick that one flat-footed. Ronnie Jenkins to the corner, and the ball goes into the end zone. They'll come out to the 20. Rich Gannon will have his second chance on offense. I hope he has the earplugs in. He certainly couldn't hear on the first drive. The Raiders down 6-0 to the Titans here in the first quarter. Will start from their own 20-yard line after the kickoff goes into the end zone.
I love the way this builds up. Listen to this, folks.
Zach Crockett, number 32 in the ball game, an empty backfield again. Now they'll switch back, and Garner will be the deep man in the eye. Charlie Garner. Let's go to Susie for more on Richie Gannon.
Well, Mike, it doesn't seem as though talking to him that Rich Gannon is over that Super Bowl loss. He said it can really choke the life out of you, not let any air get to your brain, knock the wind out of your sails if you let it. He's trying to get over it, but as the MVP, he had to go out on the banquet circuit. Everyone wanted to talk about it. He tried to make light of it, but he said deep inside, it still burns pretty bad.
Susie, we can understand that. It's such a tremendous season he had and ended on such a disappointing note. 2nd and 8. It is deafening at the Coliseum. Gannon can't find anybody. Under pressure. Sidearms incomplete.
You know who stops this play was Javon Curse. Rich Gannon was going to throw the ball out to the outside, and Javon Curse, what he told us the other day, Joe, is we know we can't get to him, so what you have to do is take your initial step and then get up in the air. Watch what he does. Here's Sims on him. Watch this. Now watch it go up. When he went up right there, Gannon had to pull the ball down.
That's just smart defense. Third and 8. Here comes Curse. Doesn't get there. The pass is complete but shy of a first down. Jerry Porter makes his first catch, and Rocky Boyman, the linebacker, was right there.
Normally, this Raider offensive line would be able to give the guys a chance to get down the field 8 to 10 yards to pick up a first down. But they're so late off the balls, the defensive line of the Titans takes a step before they ever get out of their stance.
Justin McCarrons waits inside his 30. Oh, beautiful kick. Driven all the way back to the 14-yard line. McCarron still on his feet. And the Raiders kick coverage unit, lousy a year ago, gives up a 26-yard return on that punt. Titans on top 6-0. 5:10 to go first quarter from Nashville. Throughout the game tonight, we'll be bringing you our fantasy line, the top performers from the day in the NFL, so you can catch up on all your fantasy football league points. Titans with excellent field position this time. They start at their own 39. McNair double pumps, drops it to Eddie George. And he's taken down up around the 43-yard line. Middle linebacker Napoleon Harris with the coverage.
You know, the one thing about McNair is, you know, we saw him the other day, Joe, and how relaxed he really is. And he sits down, he talks, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Well, here's the situation just right there. It was only a short 4-yard pattern, but he knew exactly where Eddie George was going to be when all of his other receivers are covered.
And he stands so strong in the pocket, has great confidence. We talk about the Raider offensive line being a solid one. You can't underestimate the power and the abilities of the Titans offensive line either.
McNair has the ball knocked away, still loose.
They may call this this could be an incomplete pass. His arm was coming forward.
Rod Coleman appeared to be the man that knocked it away.
He starts to bring his arm forward. I think he's looking up, just checking.
Well, you know, and he looked at the bench. He's walking to the side. Here it comes. Does he go forward?
I think that should be an incomplete pass.
Tell you what, the Raiders don't want to hear this one.
They're going to get it. They may get, that's an incomplete pass right there.
This is the tuck rule all over again.
There we go. Mr. Davis, cover your eyes.
Tennessee is challenging the ruling of a fumble.
Well, when you look
Al
at that,
is here, and he didn't agree with the first one. He's not going to agree with this one either.
well, I'm going to tell you what. You take a look at McNair's arm going forward, and this is what they're talking about, the tuck rule. Here it comes. Watch this. He's going through, and the ball hits. That's a pass. That's a pass. I don't care. It's still a pass.
And it's an incomplete pass.
Exactly.
Your arm's going forward. Even if he was to try and pull it down, it wouldn't matter. It's still an incomplete pass. Now, the other thing we see is, remember, Justin Hartwig is a brand new center. And Rob Coleman at 285 just blows him right back into McNair's lap. And the Raiders are not going to have this football, in my humble opinion.
You know what?
I knew you were going to come.
When has he ever had a humble opinion?
All right.
What have I missed here? I've only been with him, what, 6 years? And I've never heard you with a humble opinion.
This is Ron Blum under the shield.
I would be
checking the replays.
I would be very surprised if this isn't an incomplete pass and the Raiders the Titans wind up with it again. I mean, I could see no reason why it would not be considered an incomplete pass. As long as his arm starts forward. That's all you need to know, folks. My arm starts forward, the ball comes out, and it's an incomplete pass. End of story, end of case.
Thank you. I totally agree. If they don't look at, here he is right here. Look at his arm. Now look how forward it is, and it's coming down. This ball comes out of his hands after it hits Coleman on the shoulder.
He's obviously trying to bring it back in, which brings the, quote, tuck rule.
Doesn't matter. Which I personally feel like the rule should be amended. I think that's something that the competition committee should continue to look at and possibly do something with.
But it hasn't yet.
And it won't.
You know, of all the rules that you wanted to have them amend, they have amended none.
I know, but I'm
zero.
trying.
Zip. They don't even, I don't even think they talk about them.
I'm trying. No, they don't. Okay, here comes Ron.
Uh-oh.
To reviewing the play, quarterback's arm was moving forward. However, he had control of the ball all the way until it hit a defensive player. It is not a tuck rule involved here. It's a fumble, and it's first down Oakland.
Oh, boy.
The way he explained that was very good. He had control of the ball. Does that change your opinion?
No, because on the tuck rule, what happens is if you bring the ball forward all the way down and you start to reload, that's still an incomplete pass. His arm is coming forward. How does he know that it's not going to come all the way down? I don't agree with the interpretation.
Well, what they said was that he had control of the ball until it hit the defender.
That's okay. He's still trying to throw the football. So it should be an incomplete pass.
Well, the Raiders were so good a year ago after a turnover. They led the league with 16 touchdowns after an opponent's mistake. And they set up shop at the Titan 33. And Sims moved again. What a horrible night for Barry Sims.
Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, is going to have to change the cadence of this offense. He's going to have to stop audibilizing. You see number 65. It doesn't matter who's lined up outside of him. It doesn't matter whether it's Carlos Hall, whether it's Kevin Carter, whether it's Javon Curse. He is used to hearing Rich Gannon, and he can't hear him now. I'll show you the problems he's having. This is the third one that's been called, actually the fourth offside that's been called on. Now he's looking outside based upon what he thinks he hears. Still looking outside. Now he's looking inside at the ball, and he's a whole snap count late.
Gannon with time. Throws short. Rice with his first catch down to the 31. Jerry Rice a year ago, 92 catches, 1,211 yards. He was 9th in the NFL in catches. He may be the first guy to get a game check and a Social Security check in the same week. He has not slowed down at all. And he led the ball club in both of those categories.
You know what? And when you're in trouble, just look for number 80, because he's going to come back to you and help you.
The Raiders go again with some youth in the backfield in Justin Fargas.
2nd and 8. Fargas on the toss. Excellent speed out of USC. There's a flag down.
Boy,
nice play by Andre Dyson on the corner.
Oh, Andre Dyson. You talk about sacrificing your body. You're looking at a corner. They caught holding against the Raiders. But this is a great play by Dyson. You know, he just takes on the runner. Watch number 22, Andre Dyson. He sees the toss. Look at this. In the backfield. Look at him. He grabs him around the legs. Great tackle.
I'll tell you the other thing. I just don't believe you can run laterally against the Titan defense. I just think they're too fast in the defensive line as well as the linebackers.
Remember when Bill Callahan told us they did an in-depth study of the penalties last year, why they had them? They got a lot of penalties on the outside. That was another case that they get a penalty on the outside trying a sweep.
He called it the edges. He felt like that's where most of them occurred.
Now it's 2nd and 18. Gannon over the middle to Rice. And Jerry dives near the 22-yard line.
And this is what the Raiders do offensively. They don't have the speed other than with Jerry Porter to challenge. So now you see Rice come along, just look for the opening, makes the play out in front, picks up the additional yardage.
He can run crossing routes like that for the next 10 years.
He really can, Mike. He has enough speed to be able to just be a concern, not necessarily a big threat down the field.
3rd and 10. Raiders trying to take advantage of a fumble. Draw play, Garner. Charlie Garner inside the 25. It looks like a yard shy of a first down.
Now you try and kick a field goal here. During warm-ups, I was out on the field. I watched Sebastian Janikowski kick one from 58 yards.
Well, they're not sure yet because Gannon went to the sidelines and Janikowski is standing over there, so they...
No field goal. Here comes Richie Gannon. Bill Callahan rolling the dice early.
Well, here's the other side of it. You've got Zach Crockett, number 32. He scored 8 touchdowns in goal line situations. I don't know if there's a better short yardage back. And then you combine that with Chris Hetherington, and you've got yourself a ton of beef headed towards the line of scrimmage.
And now Gannon has to use another timeout, his second of the first half. And now they'll have a chance to talk this over for another 45 seconds before they decide if they'll actually go for the first half.
You just plug a guy in 2 days and he goes in there and he was effective the entire time.
Because he's Lawyer Malloy.
And he's a Pro Bowler and he's smart.
4th and a yard. Crockett the deep man. Oh, and the official is going to blow this one dead.
Delay a game.
Start. 79, offense. 5 yards, still 4th down.
You know, Barry Sims is saying, thank God it wasn't me.
You know why? That's why I wouldn't have done it. You can't communicate. You can't get people off the line of scrimmage.
That one was on Mo Collins, and look at that. 8 penalties for 76 yards. We're in the first quarter.
Look to the right of Rich Gannon, number 12, his right guard, Mo Collins. Watch what he does.
I don't know what he did.
I don't see him move.
He never moved.
47-yard field goal attempt by Sebastian Janikowski. And the big guy out of Florida State knocks it through, and we have a 3-point ball game. So the Raiders get the break on the fumble, and they get 3 out of it.
I think the Raiders are withstanding a tidal wave at this point. The young guys have to learn how to hear. The offensive linemen have to get comfortable with what they think they're hearing from Rich Gannon. And I believe that so far, I'd say the Raiders can't be displeased with the score of this football game.
I think surviving's a perfect word. Monday Night Countdown, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. The best place to...
And/or tonight.
The Tennessee Titans started last year 1-4, wound up in the AFC Championship game. But I got to be honest with you, if you're a Dolphin fan, you're still sick to your stomach. Ooh.
And this one will go out of bounds. A big mistake by Janikowski. The penalty is just so harsh for kicking the ball out of bounds, you can't do it.
And Bill Callahan says, why?
30 yards from the spot of the kick. First down.
Let's go to Susie.
Mike, there is no doubt that the leader on this Titans team is Steve McNair, and that means on both sides of the ball. Samari Roll, the defensive leader, says when McNair speaks, they snap to attention. He is the motivating factor. Everything that McNair has endured and been through, it motivates you to be a better player across the board.
Well,
that was even echoed by Bill Romanowski, Susie, when he said, you know, I thought he was a pretty good player. Then we played him in the championship game. We hit him and hit him and hit him and hit him, and he didn't even slow down. He says he really respects the guy.
When he and Eddie George played the last few years hurt, there was no one guy could go sit on the sideline and say, hey, you know, I can't play. Yes, you can.
If you aren't going to be inspired by that, you're not going to be inspired by anybody that plays on your team. Eddie George, straight up the gut. 5 more to the 45.
You know, he was also talking to Bill Romanowski last night. He made a point that has not really come to fruition for the Raiders. He said, what we want to do is we want to create doubt in their minds early. And that meant stopping Eddie George and controlling Steve McNair. They have done neither. Now you got to wonder, is there doubt in the Raiders' mind now? Defensively, can we hold on?
Eddie George, 4 carries, 17 yards. Draw plays, got it again. Flag goes down at the end of this play. Eric Barton with the tackle, but Justin Hartwig was in the middle of the pile. They threw the flag right at him. And it will be a hold and come back. The Raiders defense has made some changes up front. First-round draft choice Tyler Brayton is a starter after an impressive preseason. The linebacker's very athletic, led by the volatile Bill Romanowski, still going strong in his 16th season. The secondary has the brilliant Charles Woodson, one of only 3 corners ever voted to the Pro Bowl in his first 4 years. The other 2, Ronnie Lott and Mike Haynes.
And Charles Woodson is in a contract year. He is inspired. He is motivated.
And he will get one.
And he is healthy.
Yes, he will get one.
He'll get a new contract.
A big one.
Yes.
2nd and 13. George in the flat, and they throw the tight end screen to Shad Meyer, and he dropped it. They set that up really well.
I'll tell you what, we've seen. Now, first of all, we had Frank Wycheck drop a ball. 2 tight ends have dropped the ball in this game. I thought, you know, when we talked to these guys, how keyed up they were 3 weeks ago about playing the Raiders, and it was a preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. And then we just asked them the other day, can you calm down, get this team calmed down? Well, I think they have, but except for a couple of young guys that haven't calmed down.
Robert Holcomb will check in the ball game, number 35, the veteran out of Illinois, on 3rd and 13. Blitz coming. Oh, flag is down. That looked like a hold. The pass is complete to Drew Bennett. Now we'll check the marker.
Charles Woodson was coming on a blitz. He didn't see it, and Robert Holcomb hog-tied him. I mean, he grabbed him around the neck and threw him on the ground.
35,
yeah.
Offense, 10 yards. still third down.
This was an easy one to call,
They
Joe.
ought to have another symbol like for tackling.
I'm going to tell you, it was unbelievable. Look on the top side. You talk about who? He almost choked him to death.
Coaches talk about get yourself in a position, and you as a running back have to deliver the blow. You can't catch it. He didn't catch it. He just caught Charles Woodson.
Well, he didn't think you're going to see a corner Charles Woodson blitzing, and he did. Caught him by surprise.
And that's a guy who is a third down back and used to seeing long yardage situations, and he makes that mistake. That's the end of the first quarter here in Nashville. It's been a beauty. The Titans lead it over the Raiders 6-3. Coliseum in Nashville. The Titans on top of the Raiders 6-3, a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. And the Raiders have already racked up 8 penalties in the first quarter, the most they've had since 1995.
And right here on third down and 23, there's two things you have to be aware of as a Raider. You don't want to rough Steve McNair, and when there's a play on the ball, if he's going to throw it deep, don't get a pass interference call.
I'm not sure you can rough Steve McNair. You got to knock him down first, don't you?
Knock him out.
Rule interpretation of roughing.
Draw play, Holcomb. Dorsett. First man in on the tackle near the 35 along with Eric Barton. If you just joined us, the only touchdown of the game so far came from Steve McNair to rookie Tyrone Calico. His first catch is a touchdown against the Raiders. Rod Woodson, the veteran, tried to stop him short of the goal line and couldn't. Now 4th and 15. They'll have to kick it away. And the dangerous Philip Buchanan, who has been injured most of his short career, and a beautiful punt by Hendrick. Buchanan, blazing speed, doesn't have a chance to use it. McCairn's the first man down and wrapped him up. A loss of a yard after a gorgeous punt of 49 yards. Now, you saw Rod Woodson on that touchdown catch. Here's what it sounded like from his microphone.
Hey, watch your bunch! Bunch!
You heard him say Romo, referring to Bill Romanowski. He thought he should have been somewhere else on that coverage.
I thought the play action fake put Romo, like Paul said, in no man's land out there. Raiders can't feel too bad about the way things are.
You're right.
They really have withstood this crowd very well.
Charlie Garner. Carter is in there along with Keith Bullock. Let's go to Susie.
You know, Mike, one of the things that Jeff Fisher said he'd be looking for tonight was, has age caught up with the Raiders? Well, I don't know, but there are 6 guys 37 years or older. Rich Gannon says it's simple why they're hanging around so long. They train, they take care of themselves, different from anybody else. They work harder, they come in earlier, they stay longer. Guys like Bill Romanowski, they're still loving the game and playing with passion.
Susie, those guys, all of them, so dedicated to taking care of themselves and extending their career at a very high level. Garner on a draw again, gets it across the 20 to the 21-yard line. The other thing about those veterans, the Super Bowl loss was so devastating to this team. Rich Gannon said on the plane back home, which had to be a miserable flight, all these guys were talking about, we can go in and renegotiate our contracts. We can restructure things so we can get rid of $45 million. We can all stay together, and we can have another shot out of it. Now, that is dedication as well. 3rd and 4. Gannon just can't find anybody. Now throws sidearm incomplete. Intended for Jolly. Schulters was the only one who was really close to it.
Boy, I'll tell you who did a great job. That whole secondary, Joe, these guys are on a bunch, on 3 guys on one side. And that secondary just jammed them all in the middle. Nobody had a chance to get out and get open. And Gannon had to scramble and try to find someone, and there was still no one open.
They really don't have anybody but Porter that can run by, so they're just up in their faces muscling them.
But that's the same secondary that Rich Gannon picked apart for 93 points in 2 games last year. Uh-oh, flag is down. They'll have to do this one again.
Well, that ball just went 90 yards.
83. Offense. 5 yards. Still fourth down.
That one is on O.J. Santiago, and I think that is the 6th false start of the first half against the Raiders. Check it, 7.
Penalties was one of the things that Bill Callahan just studied to the nth degree in the offseason. Studied every form, every type.
Leckler will punt again. McCarron's waits at his 33. Low line drive this time. McCarron's from the 39. And got to midfield before he was driven back. A return of 11 after a kick of 46. Napoleon Harris with the tackle on special teams. 6-3 Titans. The defense has done its job. Courtesy of Budweiser. And the Titans have the ball at their own 49-yard line. A sellout, very vocal crowd here at the Coliseum.
Yes, Paul, they do have an Air Force.
I thought, you know, I didn't know we had an Air Force.
Eddie George uses that body lean, gets 5 more. The stats very revealing in the first quarter. I want you to take a look at the Raiders' total offense, 74 yards. Their penalty yardage against them was 81, so they lost a net 7 yards in the first quarter. You can't do that and beat anybody.
And most of them, 30 yards of it were on 6 offsides or illegal movement penalties. 2nd and 5 is such a dangerous down for defenses against Steve McNair because he can do anything.
George against the blitz. Picks up a couple. Tyler Brayton, the rookie first-round draft choice out of Colorado, was in on the stop. He's on the bottom of the pile.
Well, Tennessee, first of all, they don't use a fullback, really, for George. But they do use tight ends. And on that first play, he got in behind Frank Wycheck, who goes in motion back in the backfield. They picked up 6 yards. That time they had Eddie George by himself in that backfield, and he didn't get much.
Yeah, but, you know, I just don't believe moving tight ends back there is the same as having a fullback who's used to blocking, and that's his sole job.
He talked wistfully the other day about when Lorenzo Neal played here, and he could follow that guy into the hole. McNair against the 4-man rush. Mason makes the catch. Pushed out of bounds by the second-year man, Buchanan. It's a first down, Tennessee.
You know the nice thing about McNair, again, it's basically the same way, too, but the nice thing about McNair is how quick he can get it there, Joe. I mean, if he has to run around and get his body square and he can throw the ball in with force, but watch how fast that ball's out.
When he gets his head around that quick, a couple things come to mind. First of all, he knows where everybody is on the football field. And secondly, he's very, very confident that he wants to just pick up the first down. He doesn't try and make too much out of the play.
Wouldn't you agree his maturity, not only as a quarterback, but a person, has seen a dramatic change?
We've seen a young person go from a boy to a man.
Yep. He was 3rd in the MVP balloting a year ago. Throws this one underneath. Drew Bennett down to the 28-yard line. A flag is down. The Raiders applauding, indicating it's a hold, and we'll come back.
Dana Stubblefield said he was held. He's number 94.
Tripping. 77. Offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
Justin Hartwig, who has been moved into the center position because Tom Ackerman was hurt, who they brought in, is the 4th different center that the Raiders have had, right in the middle. I just think he's just not comfortable. See him stick his right foot out and trip Stubby? He gets called for it. He was the one that also got pushed back by Coleman when they had the fumble, when McNair had that fumble that I didn't think was a fumble.
First career start at center. We're back to that, huh?
Yeah. You think he's going to let this go?
I'll give it up.
He's not. No, you're not.
1st and 20. McNair against the blitz. Got it to Mason. His 4th catch. That's how strong he is. And a flag is down at the end of the play.
You know what?
You know, I got to ask myself another question about Steven. When is a quarterback considered in the grasp?
Never.
Well, he's different.
Well, but I mean, Don't you treat quarterbacks like quarterbacks? Watch this.
No.
He's got him.
No,
He's
he
got
doesn't.
him.
No, he does not.
Now,
he had him by one leg.
If someone was coming close to hitting him, that's when they would have considered him in the close in the
Exactly.
ground.
But you know what? We knocked over Saddam's statues easier than they're knocking McNair over.
Well, Travian Smith is a guy that reached in as a linebacker and grabbed the face mask, and that enables these guys to get back to first down.
That almost puts the Raiders close to 100 yards in penalties in the first half.
Another whistle.
You got to add some more seconds to the clock, I think.
First down and 6 yards to go.
Checking with Susie.
Well, Mike, we've seen Derek Mason already have 4 catches tonight, and there is no doubt that this entire receiving corps reflects him. He sets the tone. He said he knows if he's working hard, they will too. He's conscious of practicing like he plays. You'll see it out here tonight.
And Susie, they had the benefit of working in the offseason with McNair for the first time in 5 years. Boy, and Eddie George just got whacked as he caught the ball in the flat. Derek Gibson, the strong safety, drilled him.
I want to explain something. People are probably wondering why, if there was a face mask penalty, was there not an automatic first down? It wasn't a personal foul. It was just grabbing the face mask. There's a distinction between the two.
You hear this hit? That was unreal.
Eddie heard it.
Well, that's a back with the ball. So now you go helmet to helmet. You can't go helmet to helmet with a quarterback. But one other thing about McNair that let's not forget. Steve McNair has finally realized, really, that he doesn't have to win the football games. He's allowing these other guys to do their part. He just doesn't.
2nd and 3. Blitz coming. McNair got away from Harris, then throws on the run. Complete but out of bounds. Caught by Mason.
And Eddie George got away with a hold, I'll tell you that.
You know, watching McNair and Gannon operate at the quarterback position, both of them have great mobility. The difference is when McNair gets on the edge, you have to be aware that he can become a runner. Gannon is not that big a threat.
Watch Eddie George on the right-hand side here. Is this holding? I think so. Grab Napoleon Harris.
Mason just bobbled it before he went out of bounds.
Holcomb comes in for George on 3rd and 3. If they don't make it from here, it would be a 49, 50-yard field goal attempt. And McNair will use a time. Tennessee, Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire, Susie Culber, Iron Tire, ESPN crew. It's great to have you with us for the Sunday Night Football opener. It's been a good one so far. Steve McNair facing a 3rd and 3. Holcomb, the running back, in the backfield. Too high for Mason, covered by Buchanan.
I'll tell you, you have got to give that Raider defense an awful lot of credit. He had 1st down and 6 to go in a very crucial part of the field, and the Raider defense really did a great job, especially covering the receivers.
I think your point earlier, if they are able to survive this first half with all the emotion and the fans in it and everything, they've done a pretty good job. And now Joe Nedney, who's one of the great pressure kickers in this league, will try from 50. Hendrick will hold. And Nedney crushes it. This guy can really kick. I talked to him the other day, and I said, how come guys like you move around so much? And he says, boy, I have no idea. This is my 3rd year here. It's the longest I've ever been anywhere.
Team, to work yourself into a starter so you don't have to be on that baby.
Vargas and Jenkins are deep for the Raiders. Jenkins turned the corner. And Nedney got a piece of him as he came by and tripped him up, and Nedney is slow to get up.
Nedney's hurt.
Bump up
Yes,
the
he
volume
is. Eddie
here.
Berlin was also in on the tackle. Next Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern, you can watch NFL Primetime, and we'll catch you up on all the day's action. Holding that right knee just kicked a 50-yard field goal.
Well, this is what you call sacrificing your body. You look at how his leg got stretched out.
His
right leg just slid out.
You know, it gets hit and protected, especially when they were trying to run the clock out at the end of the ball game. Pump up the volume.
Alvis Whitted, number 87, is in the lineup for the Raiders. Garner tries to come off the right side and taken down before he reached the 35-yard line.
I agree with you one thing. If you're going to run this football against this Titan team, you better run up the middle and not run outside.
You can't run. Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, I think in the last 2 series has done a very smart thing. He's come out and he's tried to run the football. What you're doing is just sort of quieting the crowd down a little bit and not allowing guys like Javon Curse to just light up and go after Rich Gannon.
Boy, and there's the last thing that Tennessee wanted to see. Javon Curse, who has had 2 surgeries on his broken left foot, had a sprained ankle during the preseason, is down. I'm on the sideline.
There's where he gets banged, right there by his own man.
Ronald Curry, number 89, is in for the Raiders. Garner trying to go up the middle, scratching and clawing his way to the 37.
You know, we talked to Javon Curse, and you talk about a guy who wants to prove to a lot of people. Watch how frustrating this is. He tries to go inside of Sims. He doesn't make it. Now Lincoln Kennedy just returns him to the inside. He doesn't make it. He gets knocked down. You know, he is frustrated, and I guarantee you, this guy is not going to stay on the sideline.
Third and 5 for the Raiders. This Tennessee defense has done a great job so far.
Oh, Sims.
No. That's going to be defense. I think
that was Carlos Hall.
I think Carlos Hall came off the blocks first. I don't think you can put this one on Sims.
Well, Barry Sims is hoping not.
Neutral zone infraction. 97. Defense. 5 yards. Still third down.
Boy, you'd have to think, if you're a Tennessee Titan defensive lineman, you really don't need to jump the gun, because all of those offensive linemen on the Raiders are a half step slow because they have to look at the ball and can't hear. Left side, number 65. He's staying still. Then he makes his move. Good job of being patient. You see, what's happened now is the line is starting to get a feeling for Rich Gannon and the cadence. Remember, these guys, even though there's been preseason games, haven't really played much together.
1st and 10 on the penalty. Gannon flushed again. Richie chased out of bounds to the 41. A flag is down. Back at the 32, and it's a hold.
You know, they had the big old tight end in that game, Teo Johnson, who they think an awful lot of. He's 6'6". He weighs about 260 pounds. The only problem is but they got to get him the snap count, because he's sitting there on the line of scrimmage. He never moved. And the holding was on Jolly, number 88, the other tight end.
Ron Blum's been busy tonight.
Holding. Number 88. Offense. 10 yards. Still first down.
Here's the problem you have if you're the Raiders. The offense is set up for Rich Gannon to get rid of the football so quickly. Okay, now he expects the ball to be gone. But now all of a sudden he sees the defender start to take off and move, and then he has to try and grab him. And that was Jaquan Thomas.
Gannon sits in the pocket this time and throws to Brown. Couldn't hold it at the 45. Let's go to Susie. What do you have, Susie?
Well, Joe Nedney is walking off the field right now under his own power. But after they had looked at his knee on the bench, he turned to some friends in the stands and mouthed MCL. Hurt making the tackle on the kickoff, the ultimate sacrifice. Obviously, the last thing the Titans need. Their kickoff man on special teams.
Boy, that's awful for Nedney and for this ball club, and that's going to leave it up to Hendrick, who will have to do double duty. 2nd and 20. Fargas on the toss. Fargas, a third-round draft choice out of USC. If you're a little bit older, you might remember his dad, who played Huggy Bear on Starsky and Hutch. You got to go back away for that. And he wore some bad outfits, did Antonio Fargas.
Had great hats, though.
Oh, yeah.
But his son is a heck of a football player. Hasn't really played a lot of running back. Sat out the 01 season, played safety for a while when he went to Michigan. So being a running back is somewhat new to him.
Curry, Rice, and Brown, the wide receivers on 3rd and 17. Underneath and dropped by Fargas. Wouldn't have been able to get much out of it anyway.
No, he doesn't go anywhere. Fargas is stopped. I mean, again, he knew he had to get rid of the ball because he was going to go down. And this defense has done a great job.
And you don't have to jump. Justin Fargas jumps up to catch that thing and hits him in the play. Went from his face to his chest.
Leckler to kick to McCarron's. Keep in mind, this is a defense that gave up 93 points in 2 meetings against the Raiders last year. So far in this game, they've given up 3. McCarron's back pedals to the 6. Boy, and the Raiders coverage units are playing exactly the way they did last year, badly. Eric Johnson made the tackle. That's a 33-yard punt return after a 59-yard kick. It's 9-3, Tennessee over Oakland. Lead over the Raiders, 5:45 to go, 2nd quarter. Tennessee takes over at their own 39. Steve McNair so far, 7 of 11, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Throws this one in the flat to Aaron Kinney, and the ball taken by Woodson, but after the whistle. The 17-year veteran looking for every advantage.
Well, the thing about it, he's going to go, but the thing about it is that his forward progress was stopped. So Kenny couldn't go anywhere. They blew the whistle, and just remember, Rod, when the whistle blows you, it's over. Bring the ball back so they can play. Oh, he's not going to bring the ball back. He threw the ball away. Here comes Rod Woodson. Now, see, they've got Kenny stopped. He can't go. He's not going any more forward progress. Now Woodson takes the ball out of his hand, but the whistle had already blown. Here comes Woodson now. Watch this. I got it. The whistle. Whoa.
That was a close whistle to the ball coming out.
Holcomb comes in for George, and Holcomb will get the football. Barton and Dorsett combine on the tackle.
People talk about Steve McNair, and really coming into the season healthy has made a difference for him. You look at the shot he takes going out of bounds, the shot he takes delivering the ball. Now, this is how strong he is. This is one tough quarterback. Didn't make it to the Pro Bowl and feels like he's looking for a bit of respect. I got to be honest with you. Nobody from the Titans made the Pro Bowl, which amazes me. The only one that got there was Kevin Carter, and that was because Jeff Fisher, the coach, was there as a need pick player. I think there'll be more Titans going this year to Hawaii.
Oh, that's good.
And more flags.
For the ball snap, false start, 69, offense, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
Zach Pillar, the guard. McNair has thrown for almost 20,000 yards in his career. We asked him about that respect factor.
Most people around the league, I don't think so. If I did, I probably would have been in the Pro Bowl the last 2 years. So, you know, that's something that's, you know, out of my hand. I don't take it personal. That you know, I got to work a little harder. And that was my goal coming into this season, and that's going to be my goal when I leave here.
Don't you love him? I got to work a little harder. How much harder can you work, young man?
McNair flushed out of the pocket, throws just incomplete. Crowd wants a flag as Shaw was on McCarron's. Looked like excellent coverage by Terrence Shaw.
I think the fact that Steve McNair's been hurt the last couple of years is a little bit why he hasn't been able to go. He's only been able to play in games and been limited. But you can see what happens, his ability when he's healthy. Good job by the Raiders. Nowhere to go. Here comes the pressure up the field, and then he guns is coming back. That's a good job by Terrence Shaw.
Hendrick to punt, and Buchanan is back at his 15. High hanger. Buchanan forced to make the fair catch up at the 23-yard line. 36-yard kick, no return. These two teams have combined for 172 yards in total offense. They've also combined for 137 yards in penalties. So the net is 35. Rich Gannon has 3:55 to go on the first half clock. He starts from his own 24.
And only one timeout. About a 2-minute warning.
Javon Curse is back in the ballgame. He's lined up at left end. Gannon, short set, and throws complete to his tight end, Doug Jolly. Peter Sermon with the tackle. Remember when Rod Woodson tried to steal the ball? Here's the way it sounded from his microphone.
Hey, down right, down right.
Boy, and the steal and a whistle almost simultaneous. And another flag.
I love it. I love it when these guys go outside. Carlos Hall is pointing at Jolly. Jolly's pointing at Hall. All right, who is it?
It's Jolly, who's not very happy right now.
False start. Number 88, offense, 5 yards, still second down.
That is the tight end, Doug Jolly. This is Rod Woodson. How close was this as he takes the ball away?
Hey, down right, down right. No! Oh!
He wanted another return touchdown. He's had so many of them in his career. Gannon under pressure, got it to Garner, lowers his head and dives into Dyson and got a first down up to 36.
This game to the Raiders, to me, is a very important one. They played lousy in the preseason. Charlie Garner had a bad knee. Doug Jolly didn't play very much. You know Rice and Brown don't play very much during it. They're now starting to feel themselves into a game. They've played more here than they have all through the entire preseason.
Gannon, does it look to you like he's finding a little bit of a rhythm right now?
I think that, but I don't think the crowd's as loud.
They aren't.
I think it's easier now for Rich Gannon to be able to communicate. And Bill Callahan, as he looks up at the clock with about 2:17 to go, has got to say to himself, you know what? 9-3, we can put points on the board.
And look at the Titans sideline. They can hear that crowd not cheering, and they're encouraging them now. Blitz coming. Screen to Garner. Flag is down. So is Garner. Excellent play by Keith Bullock, who got right in the middle of that screen. And it's holding against the Raiders.
I understand one other thing about the Raiders in preseason. They were so bad, Joe. They didn't throw one touchdown pass in preseason. Not one. Yep. And they only had 4 rushing touchdowns by nobody that's playing.
For offense, 10 yards. Repeat second down.
Matt Stinchcomb,
warning.
The new center, and we have reached the 2-minute warning in a flag-filled football game. 9-3 Titans. Lines down. It's all coming up on the Kia halftime show. We are 2 minutes away on the clock. 2nd and 18 for the Raiders after their 13th penalty of the half. Gannon under pressure, got away from Schulters. Oh, what a job by Rich Gannon as Lance Schulters came on the blitz, horse-collared him, and Richie got away.
I'll tell you who else did a great job on that play was Lincoln Kennedy, number 72, the big tackle. Here's the guy that came back to try to help him. Watch Gannon. Schulters is 31. He gets him around. Now, but on the left-hand side, you're going to see number 72. You see him going down on the ground? That was Lincoln Kennedy, the big tackle.
And that's what happens. You saw Justin Fargas, a rookie, trying to block a safety. You just don't go to the ground when you've got a blitzer coming.
3rd and 18. Gannon finally taken down as Rocky Boyman.
Yeah, but you know who was on the bottom? Kevin Carter had a hold of his ankle, and Rich Gannon couldn't get out.
Guess what? There's another flag.
No.
Right side of your screen, number 93 comes around Lincoln Kennedy. Look, he's on the ground. He grabs Rich's foot and doesn't allow him to go anywhere so that Boyman can come in and make the play. If this is against the Raiders, you refuse it. If it's against the Titans,
It looks like it's against the Titans.
you got to say to yourself, thank you.
Because it was 3rd and long. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Number 98. Defense made contact with an official that's 15 yards and an automatic first down.
Robert Smith, and you wonder why, after a play like that, he would make contact with an official.
He might have been complaining to the official that he was held and got too adamant about it.
It didn't make any difference he was held. They tackled the quarterback. It's 4th down. You got to kick the ball. Go sit down.
I totally agree with you.
It would have been 4th and 22. Now it's a first down.
And they would have had the ball back with 1:40 to go.
Exactly. Robert Smith with a huge mistake. Now Gannon looking to the sideline. He says he can't hear.
And he has this prerogative. This is a real veteran move.
Still up to the official, though.
I know, but but he can appeal. He may look at the official again, and he'll tell him to go ahead. But now he's gotten it established in the official's mind.
We used to have a situation where every time the quarterback said they couldn't hear, they would tell the crowd to quiet down. And then we got to the point where the referee would say, hey, you can hear, get in there.
And what
Or
now?
if you don't quiet down, we're going to penalize him 5 yards.
Now Ron Blum has come over to say to Jeff Fisher, you've got to quiet the crowd down. This, to me, is the most ridiculous thing in football. To have the official come over to the home team coach and ask him to tell these people not to scream for their... Now Jeff is saying, now Fisher says, all right, get him going.
So what the officials did was stop the clock because Robert Smith was still on the field.
Exactly.
Gannon with a sidearm toss to Jerry Rice, makes the catch at the 36.
Boy, what a great job by this offensive line of the Raiders. I mean, Gannon had all the time he wanted. They had a 4-man rush, and nobody left the line of scrimmage.
They have 1 timeout left, and I don't think anybody in football runs a 2-minute as well as Rich Gannon.
Sidearms another one to Garner. Charlie Garner straight down the middle. Touchdown.
That's what an unsportsmanlike penalty will do for you.
You can hang that touchdown on Robert Smith's mistake. It would have been 4th and 22. Gave him a new life, and now Richie Gannon pays it off with a 46-yard touchdown.
And I think Jeff Fisher's probably thinking of another way to hang him.
I agree.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You think Charlie Garner, you think he's slowed down by his knee? I don't think so. Look at this pass. Perfect right between the 2 linebackers, and nobody's catching Charlie Garner.
And isn't that vintage Rich Gannon? Just a little quick toss, 3-quarter delivery, boom on the money.
Great call by Mark Trestman, their offensive coordinator, to keep his entire offense composed. His quarterback is the leader, but the calls have to give you opportunities. The last 2 worked out great.
And what a turnaround after being dominated throughout the first half. The Raiders get their first lead, and Charlie Garner has 5 catches for 83 yards.
I'll tell you, Charlie Garner, when he came out of the backfield, look at it. He was hitting stride. He was full speed when he caught the ball. Now look at him. You think he's going to catch him?
We've talked about Priest Holmes. We've talked about Marshall Faulk. We've talked about Curtis Martin. Just how important they are to their football teams. Because Charlie Garner is with Tim Brown and Jim Rice, he doesn't get the same kind of credit, but he deserves it.
Well, he's in their class. Susie, what do you have?
He sure is in their class. Only the 3rd player in history to join that 900 club. 900 yards rushing, 900 yards receiving. Callahan says his competitive nature is extreme. A guy who's wired down in and down out, lives and dies with every snap, and that's contagious. And in that respect, he is the heart and soul of this team. He gives them a pulse.
Susie was at our game last year with the Raiders in Pittsburgh that he made those 2 runs, that he looked like Barry Sanders. And you don't say that about guys very often, that they look like Barry Sanders, but he did.
And one of the Raiders' biggest concerns about tonight, because he didn't play much in preseason, was how healthy he would be with that bad knee. He looks pretty healthy to me.
Let me tell you something. When the whistle blows and the ball's kicked off, everybody's healthy. You forget about the things that are bad.
Well, adrenaline covers up a lot of stuff. Jake Schifino is deep for this kick return. Schifino with a lot of speed. Boy, the return game has been terrific for Tennessee. Terrible for the Raiders, and another flag. A 40-yard return by Schifino. They are killing them on kicks and punts. But this one will come back on a hold.
During the return, holding number 50, the return team, 10 yards, first down.
Rocky Boyman called for the hold, and Bill Callahan has to be breathing a sigh of relief as his special teams get a break.
Rocky Boyman is number 50, and there's just really, here it is on the hold. Now, wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All he did was get his hands out and push.
He didn't hold anybody.
No, he didn't.
Tough call.
I tell you, these guys are a little flag happy.
1st and 10 for Tennessee with 58 seconds to go. Pressure on McNair. Spins out of trouble. Throws on the run and Wycheck to the 40.
You know what I asked McNair the other day? He was talking about the receivers. You were asking him about all the speed he has downfield and on the outside. And I said, what about Frank Wycheck? And he just smiled. He said, I always know where he is.
Well, he only needs 12 catches coming into this game to be the 4th NFL tight end with 500 career grabs. What an exclusive club.
Get out of bounds. Get out of bounds.
Cuts back in.
All right, guys, here's the problem for the Tennessee Titans. Joe Nedney is hurt. Okay, Craig Hendricks has been a guy that's kicked off, but who's going to hold? This is where I think, they let a Neil O'Donnell go, who I think is so valuable. What do you do now that you're starting to get in position because of some great concentration?
Philip Buchanan has the interception, or at least he thought he was going to at least knock it down. But you look at total concentration on the ball, that's perfect. Look at this. Watch the concentration here. Now that is what you call looking at the ball. McCarron looks at it, looks it in, and then the thing he should have done here is true. Get out of bounds.
Turn left. Get like a NASCAR driver. Hang a big left.
Well, that's one of the things that you've got to know when you're in this time of the game. You've got to know how many timeouts you have, and you got to know where the out of bounds is.
Well, they have none now after having to stop the clock there and only 19 seconds on the scoreboard.
And I want to know who's going to hold.
We may have a drop kick.
Illegal.
No, it's still legal.
Legal?
I know Paul did it once. McNair rifles this one over the middle. Now they've got to get up and spike the ball as Kinney made the catch. Clock running. They've got time.
Look at the great job by those receivers getting back and hustling. Boy, that is efficiency. And really, Jeff Fisher is a detailed coach, especially when it comes to getting field goal units out and also getting his teams lined up to kill the clock.
Craig Hendrick hasn't tried a field goal since the 2000 season.
And it looks like Drew Bennett, number 83, will probably be the holder.
Joe Nedney has made a 50-yard field goal, but he left the field after a knee injury. This will be a 49-yard try by Craig Hendrick, the punter.
Whoa!
Holy cow!
Now you know why Joe Nedney has moved around. What a kick. This ball was shot out of the cannon. Watch this. Good hold. Bam. I mean, that's right down the middle.
Oh, with a little draw.
What a kick. Let's go to Susie.
Said expect the unexpected. You got
to try and get some big plays.
Tennessee gets the ball first. Jake Schifino is the deep man.
And
he had a nice kickoff return that was negated by a penalty. Schifino driven 5 yards deep, this time by Janikowski. Moments ago, Susie had a chance to talk to Bill Callahan.
Bill, your team had the most penalties by a team in the first half since 1994. What can you do to correct that?
We are still in this game. It's 12-10. We've been resilient throughout the first half. We're still in it. We can correct it and rectify it in the second half. Hopefully we can pull it out.
Thanks.
Tennessee starts from the 20 up 12-10. Eddie George is the single setback behind McNair. And Eddie George plows for about 3. We want to take you back to the play where Robert Smith was thrown out of the ballgame for making contact with an official. It was a huge play because it would have been 4th and 22. Watch what happens. It's the umpire, and it looked like he touched Robert Smith in the back, and Robert Smith may have thought it was another player and turned around and pushed the official.
See, you know, I agree with that interpretation, and I think the officials, although it is early in the season, they have to understand what's going on in a ballgame of this intensity, too.
McNair, too high for Mason, intercepted by Gibson. Wycheck will make a tackle. The ball comes loose.
Jason Matthews, number 76, falls on the ball. Oh.
Wycheck makes the tackle and causes the fumble.
The ball was intercepted by Oakland.
No, it's
fumbled. Tennessee recovered. It'll be 1st and 10. Tennessee.
Benji Olsen gets the recovery. What a play by Wycheck.
This is when you got to believe that everything is happening just for you. Watch this. Ball's up in the air. Gibson gets the ball. Now, here comes Wycheck. He makes a play there, strips the ball out of Gibson's hand. You know, when you're a back, a defensive back, it's a nice strip. He's not holding on to the football.
He's thinking about pitching it back to Charles Woodson. You know, one of those cute things, let's make something happen. Not in a game like this.
So all the result of it, this is 1st and 10. And Eddie George, another flag is down as George is drilled as he just got back to the line of scrimmage.
See, I don't think that Tennessee's going to be able to run the football very effectively. I think that Steve McNair's got to put it up deep and loosen them up a bit. Those safeties are getting right around the line of scrimmage. Rod Woodson was right there.
Rod Woodson made the tackle a yard in the backfield.
They'll settle for 2nd and 10.
Not only is he a new center, he's never played center.
Exactly, until this preseason.
I don't understand this call. I don't understand why you don't take a 10-yard penalty. It would be 1st and 20.
I agree with you, Paul.
Shows some confidence in your defense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Romanowski coming on the blitz. McNair hangs in there, throws deep. Mason was back there, covered beautifully by Shaw.
That looked like a rocket. All right.
He made a lot of heads turn in preseason when he put one of his teammates on injured reserve in a fight during practice. Was fined heavily for it by the ball club. That's enough for a 1st down as McCarron's against Rod Woodson.
Justin McCarron's was one of those guys who was hurt. He's their punt returner. He's for Steve McNair.
Well,
and the decision not to take that holding penalty may have come back to haunt them as they get a 1st down.
Makes no sense. None.
Eddie George. Gibson makes the tackle after a gain of about 3.
Yeah, you could almost understand. I'm going back to the penalty because I'm not going to let it go. You can almost understand it was a 5-yard penalty. It's a different story. That's a 10-yard penalty. Now you got 1st and 20. And a team that's been struggling a little bit, first of all, running the ball. Now you know they got to throw the ball. I mean, I didn't understand.
There's no logic to it.
None.
No, you're right.
McNair now facing a 2nd and 7. We're in the 3rd quarter. You joined us late. We've had almost as many penalty yards as we have had yards in offense. McNair, short set, throws incomplete, almost picked off. Woodson on Bennett.
You know, every time a pass is thrown, even watching the games today, it seems like every time a pass is thrown and a defensive back is even close, everybody holds their breath. It's like a jumper in basketball. Everybody waits for it to go through. Everybody's waiting for a flag to come out. Defensive guys actually can make great plays. And here's one by Charles Woodson. Doesn't make any contact, does a good job of knocking it away from Bennett.
That's an all-pro play.
That's why you don't go over there, and it's a mismatch. He can control that side of the field.
He's made a bunch of those all-pro plays. When he's healthy, is there anyone better?
No.
3rd and 7.
There's some close.
4-man rush. No pressure yet on McNair. Throws out in the flat. He's got Mason.
Boy, you know, I said in the end of the first half how the Raiders' offensive line blocked and how good they looked and how much time Gannon had when he hit Garner. Take a look at McNair. Look at the time that he has. Now, he could either run here or throw. Does a smart thing, and he hits Mason with the ball. Look at Mason down the sideline. Watch this. He's got Buchanan. He loses Buchanan. Buchanan falls down.
There's another guy who hasn't practiced very much in preseason. It's Philip Buchanan.
Derek Mason now 5 catches, 58 yards. He had 79 last year, went over 1,000 for the 2nd straight year. Eddie George. Ooh. Stubblefield waiting in the hole. Let's go to Susie for more on Derek Mason.
Well, Mike, we knew this was going to be a heavyweight battle, a battle of revenge. Derek Mason said it's like one of those bullies at the playground who beats you 2 times, and you spend the summer lifting weights, and you can't wait to see him again. This time, the Titans felt like they were truly prepared for this Raider team, and Derek Mason is leading the way for this receiving corps.
Hey, Susie, that bully didn't just beat him last year. It whipped the living bejesus out of him.
Well, also, Derek Mason said that he got out of his own game. He wasn't running patterns right in the championship game. He didn't do anything right.
He rushed everything.
McNair out in the flat. Kinney pushed out of bounds by Travian Smith.
You can sense how coordinators get into a rhythm. Mike Heimerdinger right now is in a very comfortable rhythm, and he's the offensive coordinator of the Titans. You know, and he really... What's happened is he's grown with Steve McNair now in his 4th year. He says, I have to continually challenge Steve now. He knows the offense. Keep giving him things. Keep giving him challenges.
There's Mike now in his 4th year as the offensive coordinator for this club. 3rd and 8. Flanker screen. Mason. Boy, did Woodson play that perfectly.
You know, the one thing about Rod Woodson, and I don't care how long he's played, he played corner very effectively, he played safety very effectively, but just take a look at him get himself in a football position. Here he comes out. Watch what he does. He breaks down. He's ready to make a tackle. He's got the receiver in front of him. And, hey, there's no place for the receiver to go except right into Woodson.
See, I don't think Drew Bennett realized how quick he was. He goes out to try and shadow him a little bit, and all of a sudden he's by him.
And that loss of 4 doesn't give Hendrick a chance to try another long field goal. Now they'll punt.
Well, another field goal would have been 65.
Yep.
Now he'll kick that funky kick. The knuckleballer.
Oh, they had a chance to down it at the 1-yard line, and that was through McCarron's hands.
It was a knuckleballer, and McCarron's couldn't handle it.
Oh, and it says it all on the face of Jeff Fisher. They had a chance to put the Raiders in a huge hole and didn't do it. 9:25 to go 3rd quarter. Titans over the Raiders. It's a 2-point ball game at the Coliseum in Tennessee. Crowd trying to get back into it. They were so loud in the 1st quarter. You almost get the feeling everybody has laryngitis after that and they can't get going again.
Jerry Porter hasn't had a ball. Tim Brown hasn't had a ball.
Gannon changes the play. Under pressure, throws that one away.
Yeah, they're going to call him on it. It's intentional grounding.
Richie Gannon tried to get away with intentional grounding, and they caught him.
Charlie Garner was in the area.
Not in that area.
Hainsworth and Curse applying the pressure.
You're talking about a huge area if you're talking about being in that area. Charlie Garner was up in the middle of the field. He just threw the ball down at the feet. Look at Javon Curse is there. Woo.
It's the pressure up the middle also. Kevin Carter, Albert Hainsworth, those guys coming up the middle are making Gannon's life miserable, which is really the way to defeat this defense.
2nd and 20. 4 wideouts on the field. Garner on the draw, nothing doing. Hainsworth was right there in the hole.
Now you got the crowd back into it. The only success the Raiders have had has been Rich Gannon to Charlie Garner on the drive before the half. You saw him drop back, a little screen out to the left, and then now for the big one down the field. Fires it right down the middle. That's the success they've had, the middle of the football field. The Raiders have not had much success, nor even last year with 3rd and over 7.
Charlie Garner with 105 yards in total offense. Gannon under pressure again, and Carlos Hall got him from behind.
Carlos Hall gets him from behind, but I'm going to tell you, watch, Javon Curse is just unbelievable. You want to talk about some great speed. He doesn't make the play, but he makes Rich Gannon go out. Coming around from the right-hand side is going to be, there's Hall, he's going to make the play. But look at Javon Curse coming around the outside. Look at this, and cut back inside. You think his foot bothers him? I don't think so.
That's an assist to Kevin Carter and Javon Curse.
McCairns waits for the punt. Leckler unloads. McCairns all the way back to the 25.
There's a flag down already from blocking from behind.
Got to the 47, a 22-yard return after a punt of 65. Derek Gibson with the tackle, but they may wipe out a lot of this yardage.
There's blocking it from behind at about the 28-yard line, and there was just no reason to do it.
And Rich Gannon shaken. They can ill afford to have him hurt.
Over here on the right-hand side, look at that. That's number 37, I believe, Lamont Thompson. I mean, there's just no reason to make that hit from behind. If you can read a guy's name, you never hit a name.
Lamont Thompson was added just this week as the final cuts were made down.
Well, he may be deleted.
Nice town with a lot of nice people in it. 12-10, Titans lead. They take over. Holcomb gets a carry in relief of Eddie George.
Dana Stubblefield has replaced Sam Adams on his football team. And talking to Bill Romanowski, he says it's a huge upgrade. Stubby just gives him a lot more athletic ability up front. One of the things Bill Callahan talked about, he wanted to get the defense faster. And certainly he was a guy who could really help. And also, Stubby was shocked when he got the phone call that said, hey, you're no longer services are required in San Francisco.
Romanowski shows blitz and comes. They pick it up. McCairns with the catch, pushed out of bounds by Charles Woodson. Three catches for Justin McCairns.
Steve McNair said, you know, I've got some guys, and you ask him, Joe, do you have confidence in these young guys on the outside? He says, do I ever? Watch McCairns. He's working on Woodson's, one of the best, and he just makes a move to the outside. That ball is thrown perfectly. It's a first down.
And the Titans really have some depth at wide receiver for the first time, I think, since Jeff Fisher has been the head coach here. They can go 5 and 6 deep now at the wide receiver position and not really get much of a drop-off.
Well, they haven't had that kind of talent at wide receiver since they were the Houston Oilers. McNair naked boot out to the fake. He's going to keep it. Got a block and dives to the 45-yard line. What a play.
I'm sorry, but when he threw that fake out, the whole defense went, they all went right. He faked out to the left. Well, I mean, this is unbelievable. Watch this. Watch the defense. Look at all the white shirts. Forget about the blue guys. There are no white shirts out here.
Now, he could have thrown it to Frank Wycheck, but I think Steve just said, I'm going to take off and run.
Lawrence Grant chased him down, and when he runs, He's almost 240 pounds.
And you'll notice Charles Woodson did not take him square on.
No, he didn't.
He went for a little bit of his shoulder.
Raiders stack the line of scrimmage. And they bring 7 guys.
This is exactly, when I talked to Mike Heimerdinger, this is exactly what the Titans wanted to do on offense. They wanted to be able to control the clock and keep that Raider offense on the sideline by being able to run the football, whether it be with Eddie George, Robert Holcomb, or Steve McNair. It didn't matter. But as long as the Titan offense is out there, that means that Tim Brown and Jerry Porter and Rich Gannon and Jerry Rice, all they can do is watch. You can't score 93 points, stand on the sideline.
That's for sure. McNair fakes the draw. Romanowski on the blitz, and he just about killed Holcomb. Holy cow, he just ran right over him.
Look at Big Bill. Oh, yeah, that's me. I hit him. I hit him. Yes, I'm the guy that hits you. Now, watch this. Holcomb is number 35. Now, here's what you call running over a fullback or a halfback. And I'll tell you, Romo, he caused this play. McNair has to get out and throw it to the outside. But did you notice once he ran over Holcomb, he didn't even slow down?
No, didn't break stride.
No.
Chuck Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, I mean, he's got the #3 rush defense last year. I mean, this is a pretty good defensive football team. Now he just continues to come after Steve McNair with 5, 6 people.
McNair, Stubblefield putting on pressure, and McNair throws wide. We were talking about Romo earlier. He admits he made a horrible mistake in practice during the preseason when he threw an uppercut and fractured the eye socket of teammate Marcus Williams, a tight end who had to go on injured reserve. He was fined heavily by his coach, Bill Callahan, who told him it's simply not acceptable. Romanowski apologized to everyone. But the bottom line is you lose a guy who was a backup tight end a year ago. He's on IR. And you just can't have teammates putting other teammates on injured reserve.
It's unacceptable, in my opinion. You can't do it.
McNair under pressure. Throws on the run to Kenny. And Kenny to the 25.
You want to know a guy that just wants it and says, what do I need to do, is Eric Barton. Eric Barton, number 50, has got McNair in his sights, and he's going to label him. And McNair just hits Kenny down the middle of the field. You talk about awareness on a football field. Watch this, folks. You want to know how good he really is? This will show it to you. Now, Barton, number 50, is going to come right up into his face, right there. But McNair sees Kenny wide open in the middle and hits him.
I want to show you just how complete a quarterback he is. When he scrambles around, he's got 2 hands on the ball until he gets ready to throw it away. Every quarterback in this league ought to watch Steve McNair and see how he protects the football when he's scrambling.
Kenny, 4 catches tonight. He had a career-low 13 last year. And I'm just wondering if there's anything physically wrong with Eddie George right now, because Robert Holcomb has been in the ballgame for a long time.
Well, I think what's physically wrong is the 11 guys on the other side of the ball.
That'll do it.
I think what Eddie does in the style that he's running doesn't suit what those guys are doing defensively.
Joe, do you agree or disagree? They've got to get a fullback in front of this guy. I mean,
no, I don't agree. I don't agree because they carry tight ends to do that, Paul.
Yeah, but tight ends aren't fullbacks, and he said that earlier. You don't have a Sam Gash back there that can label some people.
But you got a Steve McNair who can be that other runner for you.
2nd and 12. Blitz coming. McNair somehow got it out to Holcomb. He makes the catch, and Romanowski pile drives him out of bounds, and Holcomb really upset about the treatment. That's what Romanowski does. Boy, he's going to give it all the extra he can.
You know, they're booing him, and what does he do wrong except cover Holcomb? Here's Romanowski. Pushes off. He reads the back coming out of the backfield. He knows. Oh, look at here. Now, tell me what he did wrong here.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. He tackled him, rolled him out of bounds.
That's football, my friend, isn't it?
One thing about this thing that we found out all these years, it's a contact sport.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, some officials might have thrown that as roughing, too. I mean, you really don't know. Not that Romo really cares. but you really don't know what's going to be a penalty or not.
We've got a timeout called by the Titans. 3:01 to go third quarter. Tennessee up by 2. Only 3 minutes and 1 second to go third quarter of play. Tennessee leading it by 2. Here's the quarterback comparison, and Steve McNair has certainly had the better of it tonight. 180 yards to 133. The percentage far higher.
Big difference in this game from the others is the Titans have not made crucial mistakes on special teams.
3rd and 7. McNair under pressure, throws again, complete. Mason makes the catch. How many times has there been somebody right in his grill and McNair has just stood in there? We talked about the Hall of Fame receivers Rice and Brown and the upcoming star Jerry Porter. They have 4 combined catches. They have been outshone by the Titans receiving corps. Mason, McCarrons, and Calico, 10 catches between them, including 1 for a touchdown. And now you've got the punter, Craig Hendrick, who will try for his 2nd field goal tonight. This will be from 34 yards. He's already hit from 49. He's kicking in place of the injured Joe Nedney, who hurt a knee on kickoff coverage. Inside the pole, good again by Hendrick. What a bonus that is to have a punter who has always been a good place kicker, always a heck of a kickoff guy, and able to hit long field goals. He shows accuracy on a 34-yarder there. He brace on his right leg. Strained MCL is the diagnosis. Hopefully he'll be back very soon for this ball club. But Craig Hendrick, in his absence, has hit a 49 and a 34-yard field goal. That's the margin of difference tonight. Ronnie Jenkins on the return for the Raiders. Spun around, crosses the 30 near the 33. Rich Gannon, knowing he's got to get this offense on track, can he find his all-pros, Jerry Rice and Tim Brown? Third quarter, 15-10, 2:46 to go. And the crowd come to its feet again to exhort the defense. Gannon underneath on the delay to Brown. And Tim Brown to the 43-yard line. His first catch.
Oh, they got
tonight.
A flag. And I'll tell you what, they've got a flag.
They're probably going to call that on Samari roll.
Well,
they're going to call that on Samari roll for bumping in, and the official that called it is the official that has had a flag day. It's the umpire.
Personal foul. Number 21, defense, a late hit, 15 yards. It's a first down.
Watch number 21 come in.
Oh, there's just no excuse for that. Yeah, it's just silly.
I know, Mike, but gee whiz. I mean, it's a bump, for goodness sakes. Like Paul said, they're playing football, for goodness sakes.
Plays over, whistles blown.
You don't hit a guy in the back.
No cheap shot.
It's the same way on everything, Joe. If you see his name, you can't hit him.
Yeah, but you can. It's a defensive guy that hits him.
The Raiders benefited from an earlier penalty to get a touchdown. Can they take advantage of this one? Gannon underneath, tipped, almost picked. Right into the hands of Rocky Boyman, or is it Sermon? It's Peter Sermon, and he couldn't hold it.
When I talked to Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator of the Titans, one of the things he stressed to his defensive linemen, get your hands up. Kevin Carter, right there, bounces it. Rich Gannon throws a lot of balls sidearm. He doesn't have a high delivery point, so just don't worry about it. Throw it low.
Went over Mo Collins' shoulder.
That hit hit so low, didn't have to get his hands up.
He hit Mo Collins in the shoulder with the ball.
2nd and 10. Gannon to Brown, bobbled it, but regained control and got out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Tim Brown last year under 1,000 yards for the first time since 1993. He only had 930 yards receiving.
Before this series started, the Titans had the ball for 10 minutes and 44 seconds. The Raiders for 1 minute and 24 seconds. That's why that drive by the Titans is so important.
3rd and 5. Gannon under pressure. Somehow got it to Brown, and Brown down to the 27, nearly the 26-yard line.
Boy, Tank Williams, and he had no chance either. This ball was thrown perfectly. We're looking at two quarterbacks. When they're scrambling, they seem to be at their best. Here comes Brown. Tank Williams, number 59, is going to try and stay with him, and he can't. Look where this ball is thrown, just to the outside.
Perfect.
Can't throw any better than that.
Rich Gannon starting to look a little bit more like last year's MVP.
And Barry Sims has settled down and hasn't jumped off.
Yes, he has done a nice job over there. Fargas to the 20. Flag down. The end of the play. There's Tim Brown's numbers. 1,021 career receptions. He's behind Chris Carter and Jerry Rice. He is behind Rice in receiving yards. Number 2 all time, and he's more than 7,000 yards behind his teammate.
Illegal crackback block. Number 89, offense, 15 yards. Repeat first down.
That's Ronald Curry, the former North Carolina quarterback and point guard for the basketball team. They've had trouble finding a spot for him. He said, what's the best way for me to make this team? And they said, wide receiver. He says, I'll go there then. Commits a big penalty here.
Well, you know, we talked about Jerry Porter. I talked about it before this game. He has not been on the field in this drive at all.
No, I think that abdominal strain is keeping him out of the ball game. First and 22 after the penalty. Pressure coming. Gannon wants a screen. Fargas. And Fargas is drilled as he got to the 24. Peter Sherman just unloaded.
I tell you what, we've been talking, Joe, about guys catching balls and quarterbacks throwing. But you talk about some hitting. Wow. I'll tell you, watch this. Watch Sherman, number 59. You don't think he unloads on 20? Fargas, watch this. At the end of this play, you talk about these guys flying, and now here comes the collision. Bang.
That's Tank Williams.
Tank Williams hits him, and there's on the other side is Sherman, number 59.
That's the end of the third quarter. And we are having a great ball game. Charlie Garner in on 2nd and 16. Blitz coming on Gannon. Down he goes.
Lance Schulter.
We have seen the safeties of the Tennessee Titans really put a lot of pressure. Tank Williams with the big hit on the last play on Fargas. Now Lance Schulters lines up outside the formation and just comes around the corner. He comes from the top of the screen. Doug Jolly again Doug Jolly wasn't even out of his stance.
You know, you've got to expect they're coming all the time. I mean, Jolly never even looked at him.
And really, this is the one thing the Raiders lack, is a true blocking tight end.
3rd and 20. Schulters coming again. Garner over the middle. Knocked down at the 29-yard line by Rocky Boyman. That gets them back in field goal territory. Would be about 47 from here for Janikowski, who's got plenty of leg for that range.
Rich Gannon's got to be so frustrated, not necessarily because of the noise. I think he can handle that. But the things that we've seen, you're playing with Justin Fargas, a rookie running back. You got Doug Jolly in his 2nd year. You got Teo Johnson, a rookie wide receiver, tight end.
Looks like Sebastian may have been on the banquet circuit. 47-yard field goal, hooks it right down the middle. Janikowski 2 for 2 tonight. 15-13. Titans by 2. 13:51 to go in the game. Titans by a pair. 13:51 to go in the game. Schifino will go deep to take the kickoff again.
Now let's see who's in the best shape. This is their first full game.
Janikowski, who led the league a year ago with 22 touchbacks, had one last time. This is a squibber. Taken by Aaron Kinney, the tight end, and Kinney upended as he reaches the 39-yard line. If you joined us late, here's what you've missed. Rich Gannon has had to run for his life most of the night. He's thrown for 173 yards in this touchdown to Charlie Garner. Steve McNair, 186 yards, a touchdown and a pick. He is 19 out of 30, and one of the big factors, 136 penalty yards assessed against the Raiders on 15 flags.
Like Susie said, since what, 1994? Had the most in the first half.
They are annually among the leaders in the NFL in penalty yards. Poor throw that time by McNair. Let's go to Susie.
Well, Eddie George is back in the game after he put about 10 miles in on the stationary bike on the sideline. But he told us on a night like this, when things really don't seem to be going his way, the key is to stay patient, don't be over anxious, stay within yourself, trust your instincts, don't get away from your game. That's when everything unravels. Just keep pounding away.
And he certainly, Susie, had a better average at the beginning of the ball game. He's averaging over 4 yards a carry on the first 4 or 5. 2nd and 10. Here's the draw to George, hitting the backfield and taken down. Dana Stubblefield is that defensive line getting more and more aggressive and having more success. Eddie George defines workhorse. He has carried the ball more times per game on average than anybody. Curtis Martin, Eric Dickerson, or Walter Payton, 3 guys who are legendary for just working it and working it. He is averaging 21.6 carries a game. And he's still going strong in his 8th year. Holcomb is back in there at running back on 3rd and long. McNair under pressure, backing away and throws it away. Now, there was nobody really close to that, and McNair was still between the tackles.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, though, Derek Mason was upset because he was open. And McNair, I mean, they just took the offensive line and just threw it back in McNair's face.
Lots of pressure. Chuck Bresnahan, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, continuing to come up with little schemes, little ways to bring the safeties and the linebackers to put pressure and contain McNair. It's one thing to go after him. It's another thing to keep him in the pocket.
Buchanan drops back. Waits at his 23 for Hendrick's kick. Oh, another beauty. Buchanan from the 20, looking for a block, trying to get to the near side. Nowhere to go and steps out of bounds at the 20. 44-yard kick, nothing on the return. 12:44 to go in the game. 15-13 Tennessee. Bucks. I'll take the 75. Gannon underneath to Garner. Got a nice block.
Oh, they got a flag down.
And that may be a block in the back by Teo Johnson.
These are just, I mean, these are young guys that are not used to the speed that they're playing against. That's all there is to it. Teo Johnson can't get himself in position to make the block.
Well, he hits Samari Roll, number 21.
Illegal block in the back above the waist. Number 82, offense, 10 yards. Repeat, first down.
This is a guy who's not used to playing the tight end spot. He's a converted wide receiver and a former basketball player at Stanford. Now he's 260, and they're using him as a tight end. They can split him out. He can still run. But he made a mistake on that one. And yet another penalty against the Raiders. Garner can't get there as 2 Titan defenders run into each other.
That was the
Bullock and Sermon.
That was the same pass play that he scored the touchdown on. They came right back to it. This time the linebackers didn't give him a chance to be able to hit the hole.
I'll tell you what, though, these guys are really threading the needle. Both quarterbacks, I mean, they've got some zip on the ball.
And I'll tell you, it's a lot tougher, I think, on Rich Gannon. Not just the fact from a communication standpoint, but what's really killing him are mistakes by the rookies, by the young guys, and it's putting them in long yardage situation. Extremely long yardage.
2nd and 15. They show blitz. And they come with it. Gannon unloads to Brown. Samari roll with letter-perfect coverage. He knew the blitz was coming, knew Brown couldn't get deep, and he was right on it.
That's really, I mean, that's where it was at. Tank Williams, number 25, is going to come on a blitz. Look at him on the line of scrimmage. He gets up in the air. He gets hammered by Sim. But the thing about it is Samari Roll knows, and you're absolutely right, he knows that there's a blitz on. He knows he only has to have short coverage.
And like he told us, he knows that they can cover him.
Oh, yeah.
He knows that he and Dyson on the other side can cover Brown and Rice in one-on-one situations.
3rd and 15. They are 1 for 9 on 3rd down tonight. And Gannon throws wide of Ronald Curry.
You know, it's another one of those passes where Gannon throws the ball out to the outside to Curry, and even if he completes it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but Ronald Curry, again, you're talking about a guy who was a quarterback, a defensive back, never played wide receiver. You got again an MVP and an all-pro in Rich Gannon throwing to a kid who has absolutely, really no idea what the wide receiver position's all about.
Shane Leckler will be forced to punt. He's had a great night, averaged 52+ on his punts, and kicked 2 field goals in relief of Nedney, who was hurt. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the other team right now. That one will die at the 45-yard line. 39-yard kick that time. An excellent field position for Tennessee. Steve McNair knows he needs points. Only up by 2 minutes, 57 seconds to go in the game. Titans by 2. They have it at their own 45.
I think this is a great spot to be able to take a shot down the field. If you can put points up now, if you're the Titans, you can salt this thing away.
Eddie George back in the ball game. That's Kinney, the tight end, who they're using as a fullback. Mason to the 36-yard line. Rod Woodson on the tackle. A gain of 19.
Boy, you're talking about the perfect throw. You're talking about the perfect throw, the total concentration in the catch. Mason knows he's going to get double teamed. Look at this. He's got both Woodsons. Woodson. And he still makes the catch. He gets knocked back, but holds on to the football. How good is that?
You go up against the best defender they've got, Charles Woodson, and you make a play.
And Rod Woodson, slow to get up after that play, comes out. Mason, 8 catches, 80 yards. McNair standing tall in the pocket, goes to Shad Meyer. And Meyer inside the 20 to the 17.
Now, here's the difference. When you take a guy like Shad Meyer that catches the ball, he puts 2 hands around it, and I mean, he protects the football. I'm just saying, a touchdown wins this football game. And the Titans, we talked about 3 weeks ago, you talk about revenge. They want to revenge so badly against this football team, and they're giving it to them now.
Well, they've eliminated the mistakes that killed them in the previous 2. I mean, big plays on special teams hurt them. Turnovers hurt them. This is a football team that's played offensively and defensively pretty much the same way they played tonight.
And the other thing you said, too, special teams. I mean, they've just been unbelievable with their special teams.
Back-to-back big plays now. Eddie George tries to get outside. Romanowski forced the play wide, and Woodson came up from the corner to make the tackle.
We talk about the Titans not being a defense that you can run laterally on. I don't think you can do that with the Raiders either.
There aren't many defenses in the league that you can run laterally.
That's true. They've added a lot more team speed to the Raiders. That's one of the things that Bill talked about. Callahan said. He said, we wanted to get faster on defense. They have. They went out and drafted young guys. They got Dana Stubblefield in, who's been a real impact player tonight for them.
2nd and 11. Eddie George is out as a flanker in this formation. McNair to Shad Meyer inside the 10, close to another first down. Anthony Dorsett took him out of bounds.
Mike Heimerdinger made a very simple statement about Shad Meyer. He said, this kid's got to come through for us. That's exactly what he's done. Look at McNair hold everybody with his head down the field and then make the throw. Nice tight spot. I love spirals. I get excited when
I'll tell you what, if you don't catch that baby, he'll never throw you another one. Look at that. 235 yards, and that interception was tipped.
And I don't agree with the fumble.
Okay. 1st and goal. Eddie George.
I think you get a steady dose of Eddie George, at least for another down. See if Eddie can pound it in. I think it'd be psychologically great for him, be good for the offensive line. Then you go to play action if you need Steve McNair to get him on the edge.
Anybody see the late shot, Romanowski and Shadmeyer?
Yeah, Romanowski, I'm going to tell you what. If you go out there and you try to block him, you better block him, because if you're not, he's going to knock you down.
2nd and goal from the 3. Kinney sets up as the blocking back for George. Eddie George.
Romo.
They'll get him at the line of scrimmage. The initial stop made by Perella. Romanowski finished up and then complaining that he was held.
Perella makes his play, but look at number 53 is Romanowski. Mario, you're trying to block him again? You know, get out of my way. I got work to do here.
He was right about being held.
Yeah, he was being held.
Now I think is when a guy like Steve McNair becomes so valuable. The Raiders can't just say, okay, he's going to drop back and pass. If he does, he has the ability to scramble and run it in for a touchdown if he doesn't have anybody open.
3rd and goal, the ball at the 3. George is out, Holcomb is in. McNair floats it back of the end zone. Was he forced out? That's up to the official. No call yet to confirm.
I would say it's incomplete.
It's going to be a tough call.
Forced out touchdown.
Touchdown.
I can. Where's the red flag? Callahan will throw it. Well, that's right. You can't challenge.
You cannot challenge that call.
Nope.
Look at this throw. Look where it is. Up in the air. Can he get both feet down?
Absolutely not.
Boy.
No. I'll tell you what. There's no way he gets both feet down in this thing.
No, there's no way.
Look at the right foot. Look at the right foot.
There's
first
no
of all.
way.
Oh, what a tough call.
No, it's a bad call. It's not a tough call. And I'll tell you something. I saw a play in the New England-Buffalo game today where I think David Patton at least got 1 foot down, and they wouldn't give it to him as a push-out.
His body lean was taking him out of bounds. At best, he might have gotten 1 foot down, but certainly you didn't think he could get 2. The officials confer, said he would have been forced out of bounds by the contact.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's a touchdown.
And if I had wings, I could fly. That hasn't happened either. This is a very bad call by the official.
Now watch the body lean. There's the contact. He's going to come down out of bounds whether he's hit or not.
His momentum really carries him.
Exactly.
Watch this. The defender goes up. Dorsett goes up to make a play, and it's momentum. Now,
I'll tell you what. When you look at this thing, and you can look at it over and over and over again, just look at his right foot. His right leg, there is no way that he can get that right leg back down in bounds.
The left one, right?
No, the right leg.
Or the left one.
Joe, let me put an R on your leg. See the one over here on this side? That's your right leg.
Gotcha.
And then the other one.
But it counts, and that's all that matters right now because it's 22-13.
Plenty of time for the Raiders if they can get some guys down the field and not hurt themselves with penalties. Charlie Garner is their fastest guy on the field. Jerry Porter has not played. Ronald Curry is playing now for Jerry Porter.
Hendrick will kick. Fargas and Jenkins are deep. Jenkins 2 years ago led the NFL in kick returns. And Jenkins trying to take it away from Fargas and does. Nice return up to the 34-yard line by Ronnie Jenkins. Rod Woodson wearing a mic for us tonight. Rod Woodson wired, and here's what he thought on the last play.
Oh. No, he was way out. He was way out. He was way out. He was way out. No.
Of course, you're going to lobby on every call, whether you believe it or not.
Well, Rod had a better
right
view.
on that one.
Well, he had a better view than the officials did. He was standing there looking at it. But what, I mean, you just think about, you know, we forgot about the catch this guy just made.
Yeah,
Mason.
it was a good
catch. It was a great catch.
That's a nice young man there.
And how good has this guy played? I mean, Steve McNair has put on a show tonight. And I really believe what you're seeing out of Steve McNair is the product of, as we talked about it, a healthy offseason, a chance to work with Derek Mason. Remember, he had a chance to participate in the quarterback camps. He had an opportunity to be in the mini camps.
Now 9 points, so they need 2 scores. The defending AFC champs in a big hole here. Jolly. And boy, what a nice job Barry Sims has done since those early procedure penalties. It was against Javon Curse that time. He's really kept him out of there.
I think that's the first down in the last 3 that the Raiders have actually not had a penalty on.
You can see Barry Sims on that last play. He's the guy that really blocks out to the outside and allows Jolly to get open.
Oh, Gannon tries to go back to his right, and they were waiting for him. Kevin Carter had turned the corner, and Gannon is down.
Yeah, well, how about old Javon Curse?
And I think Rich Gannon, it looked like his foot or his knee might have just got wrapped up right underneath him.
Holding that left knee.
He gets this bent back. Here comes the freak on the outside, number 90. He just goes around Lincoln Kennedy, and Rich is moving right into him. Now watch what happens. He gets taken down right there.
And his knee goes underneath him.
Now let me ask you this. Isn't that roughing the quarterback? Aren't we supposed to protect the quarterback? He's got him in the grasp. Now he's got him horse-collared around the neck, and he slams him down into the ground.
You would think.
Tell me what's roughing the quarterback.
Nothing.
I don't know. I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not impressed at all with the officiating tonight in this ballgame.
He's going to have to leave for at least 1 play. And let's see who they'll bring in the ballgame. Tuiasosopo or Meyer. It is Marcus Tuiasosopo, who had a very good last game in the preseason. Before that, he was just dreadful.
And 3rd and 12.
Rick Meyer is their 3rd quarterback.
He has thrown 4 regular season passes in 2 years. He comes in on 3rd and 12. Under pressure from Carter, got away. Tuiasosopo on the run, intended for Rice, short and knocked away by Andre Dyson. They'll have to punt it with 6:42 to go.
He showed me something, though.
Yes, he did.
Escapes twice, manages to gather himself and get down the field. They don't really know how good Marquez Tuiasosopo can be because Rich Gannon has just been an Iron Man.
Tending to the left knee of Rich Gannon. And how long has Jerry Rice been around? He played with Marcus Tuiasosopo's dad for 2 years. Leckler to kick. McCairns waits near the 20. Another nice punt. No fair catch. And McCairns pays for it as he's taken down at the 15 by Clarence Love. A loss of 1 on the return, a 51-yard punt. Hopefully for Rich Gannon, this is just temporary. This would be a disaster for the Raiders. They have been working on Rich Gannon on the sideline. We're trying to get a report on his condition, and right now all Tennessee wants to do is work time off that clock. Let's go to Susie. What do you have?
Well, Mike, the team won't say anything official, but Rich Gannon absolutely just ripped down to the ground. They worked on him for quite a bit on the bench. In the end, Gannon was putting the wrap back around his knee, pulling up his sock. Tough guy. 2nd longest active streak of starts behind Brett Favre in the NFL. It'll take a lot to knock Rich Gannon out of this game. He's up, he's throwing, he wants to go back in.
He holds the franchise record for consecutive starts for the Oakland Raiders. Eddie George stuffed before he got to the 20-yard line. John Perella was the first man there. Romanowski also in on the stop.
I'm going to go back to one other thing I said to Joe earlier in this game. I, honest to God, believe that you've got to put a fullback in front of Eddie George. And, you know, you say you got tight ends there. Tight ends are not the same as a fullback, and all a fullback does is block.
I totally agree with you, but it doesn't fit into what they do offensively. Eddie's had to deal with it over the last 2 or 3 years. It's just the way his career is going to go. And I think this is now a chance where you see the ability of Steve McNair to be able to run with the football. Drop back. If you don't like somebody there, pull it down and go.
Big play here, 3rd and 6. The Raiders need the ball back. They're down 2 scores. And they'll give it to Holcomb, just protecting the ball. Romanowski cuts him down, and there's a flag at the end of the play. It will be 4th and about 6 pending the marker.
I don't think you take the penalty here because you need the ball.
Sure.
You have time is what's important right now. And
they'll decline the holding.
If you can get Philip Buchanan running, this is what he does so very well.
And they said their priority was getting Buchanan ready as a kick returner this year, coming off an injuries from last year and in the preseason, not necessarily as a defensive back, although he's played there some tonight, but he is a sensational punt returner.
And they're set up to try and return it.
Still plenty of time to go. 5:09 in the game. You see Buchanan's numbers from last season. He had 1 for a touchdown. Not a good kick this time, but he gets a nice bounce. Raiders pick it up, save a couple of extra yards out at the 35. A 2-yard return after a 47-yard kick. We thank you for voting tonight, and Rich Gannon's back. Doug Jolly, the tight end of the 43, and the Tennessee Titans will let him chew off 4 and 5 yards at a time for a while.
That was the same first down play they had on the last drive.
And you'll see it probably if they get a first down again. I mean,
you may see it again here.
Their communication has to be very limited with the noise and also being in a 2-minute offense.
Gannon drills that one to Jerry Rice, who's been quiet most of the night, down to the 44.
Keep in mind the Raiders have all 3 timeouts. If they can get a score here, they can utilize it, get possession back, and they're a field goal away from being able to take the lead if they can stop the Titans.
And not being able to have Jerry Porter in the game has really hurt them tonight. He is their deep speed. Blitz coming. Gannon to Tim Brown. Nice move to pick up extra yardage. Got away from Dyson and picked up maybe 5 more before he got out of bounds.
You know, they're doing this with Tim Brown, with Jerry Rice, and with Alvis Whitted, and that's what they're using as wide receivers. And look at this throw out here. They're letting the Raiders catch everything that they want in front.
See, I think if you're Tennessee, you go after Rich Gannon like you did before. Don't back off now and give him a chance to breathe. Continue to try and smother him. Let your corners cover the wide receivers.
Raiders moving the ball well. Jolly again.
I told you on the next first down play.
Absolutely.
Right back to him.
Sports Center coming up when we're done here in Tennessee. Still 3:45 to go in the ball game. Rich Gannon trying to move the Raiders and get them back in the game. They're down by 9. Gannon deep this time. Brown touchdown. What a show by Rich Gannon.
That's what you're dealing with. 3:30 to go in the ball game. You don't put any pressure on him like you did the entire football game, and he's going to eat you alive.
And I'll tell you where they went to, right at Scotty McGarrahan, who just came onto this football team, and they went with a linebacker trying to cover Brown short. That doesn't work either.
What did Rich Gannon do on that drive? 5 for 5, 65 yards, touchdown, back in the ball game.
After he went to the pits, got a little work on that.
That's right.
That tire of his, and came back out. A little change of treads.
Janikowski to make it a 2-point game again. And does. And now Tennessee will not have the ability just to sit on the ball. They're going to have to try to make first downs and keep it.
Watch the left side of your screen. Rich looks right. He holds the safety, pumps, and comes back. You know, I found it very interesting. One of the things, go back to the Super Bowl, one of the things that John Gruden harped on to the Tampa Bay defense was, don't get sucked in by Rich Gannon pumping one way and coming back and throwing it the other. There's a classic case where Rich Gannon works the safety, as you mentioned, Paul, a young guy who hasn't been a part of it, gets him to move a little bit, winds up hitting Tim Brown in the slot.
And isn't usually the pump fake to the outside and then throw back to the middle?
You never pump to the side you're throwing to. So if you, I mean, that's it.
And you just think about what Tennessee did on that last series of downs they had. They ran the ball 3 straight times, and what did they gain? 3 yards maximum? I mean, they just went away. Tennessee went away from what got them to 22 points.
Third down, drop Steve McNair back. If it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, you get the pass, or you have him having the opportunity to be able to run the football.
And the way Steve McNair's throwing the ball tonight, and also Gannon, but the way Steve McNair's throwing the ball tonight, let him throw on first down. What difference does it make? It's like, you know, it's going to move. It's going to keep the clock moving.
They're going to have to do it now, Paulo.
I think so.
Schifino goes deep for the kick from Janikowski. Another low line drive. Schifino on the bounce at the 4. Makes the first man miss, and here go the Titans again. Travion Smith with the tackle. Here's the best tonight of Rod Woodson Wired. He's worn a mic for us.
I hit my head on that ground when I tackled Bennett. Got dizzy. No! Oh! My man hit him, and I just grabbed it, man, and he was still spinning.
You notice how nobody listens to you when you're complaining about your hurt? Ouch. McNair to throw on first down. Complete. Mason again. And Mason has had a sensational night down to the 47-yard line.
That's what I said. Just take him back and let him do what he does best. Now, Mason has had a tremendous night, but look where the ball is thrown.
Boy,
10 catches, 99 yards, but look where the ball is.
Such patience, too. He talked about rushing everything in the AFC Championship game. You see him take the patience to put the move on Shaw to get that little bit of space to get open.
And I thought that was a very courageous admission on his part. Certainly hadn't rushed anything tonight. He's been letter perfect. McNair to throw again. Under pressure now. Dumps it off. Eddie George. What a move to get open. George to the 39.
Well, wait a minute. Forget about the move to get open. Steve McNair, Michael.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, has this guy done everything to win? Watch Steve McNair on this play, folks. Look at here. He's going to get hammered. He knows it, and he just dumps the ball and gets it right into Eddie George's hand. Eddie George picks up the first down.
The other thing on this play, Aaron Kinney, number 88, came in to play fullback. He puts a terrific block on Napoleon Harris, who comes right up the middle. They always play each other tough.
And now the Raiders are in a tough spot.
I was going to say, when you watch Randy Moss catch, it makes it look so easy. I mean, it is easy for him.
Eddie George on the draw. Got maybe a half a yard.
All right, use your... See, now, the Raiders can do one of two things.
They did two.
They got a player on the field, but they could either take a timeout or wait to the 2 minute.
They take the timeout. They have one left.
No.
They're going to say this is an injury timeout, I believe. Here is Joe Nedney in a 2-point ball game. Thing right now.
You know, Jeff Fisher called Tyrone Calico, off the bench and brought him into the meeting with Steve McNair before this play. And they put him, he's number 87, and they put him in the game.
He can fly.
Yeah, he can.
2nd and 9.
He's already caught one touchdown tonight.
And they may be trying it again. Romanowski on the blitz. Here goes McNair.
Calico is wide open.
The flags all over the place.
McNair taken down at the 30. There's 2 flags back near the 40.
Holding, number 71, offense, 10 yards. Repeat,
Now,
2nd down.
That hurts. It's on Fred Miller, the right tackle.
Paul, you talked about Calico coming in. That's exactly what they wanted to do. Here it is. Woodson turns him loose. And the fact of the matter is the safety did not get over to cover. He is wide open running down the field, and McNair decides to take off and run with it. That's really funny. You spend all that time on the sidelines. The coach is talking to you. The coach is telling you what to do. And as a quarterback, you get out there, you run the play action, then you start scrambling around, and you say, well, you know, I really don't want to throw this up.
247 penalty yards assessed between the teams tonight. Now it's 2nd and 19.
And have a chance to do it again.
McNair unloads for Calico. He and Woodson got tied up in their feet. They're going to throw the flag.
Now the question is, was the ball catchable? Landed out of bounds?
Not if they call holding. It doesn't make any difference.
Is it holding or interference?
If
it looked like their feet got tangled, and that shouldn't be anything. See if there was contact other than that and what the call is. Call is interference.
Pass interference. 24 defense. First down if the spot is a foul.
Okay, here comes our Tyrone Calico, number 27, and he beats Woodson at the line. Now that's pass interference.
That's interference.
When you got that arm bar in, you know the old arm bar deal? Hey, you, wacko.
I got you. No, I agree. I just don't think the ball was anywhere near catchable.
Doesn't make any difference.
I know.
Pass interference.
See, they ran the same play twice.
Yes, they did.
Mike Heimerdinger says, hey, look, we drafted him. We took him in the 2nd round, and we got him here because he's fast. Let's give him a chance to go.
The Raiders still have 2 timeouts. They'll have to use them here. Draw play, Eddie George.
Look out.
Kicks it outside. Flag is down. That's going to be another hold, I believe.
On Brad Hopkins. We both saw this. We all 3 of us on takedown.
Yeah.
Brad Hopkins just takes him down.
Usually when the corner is that wide open, somebody has been tackled.
What hurts is the penalty stops the clock.
Yes, it does.
And you know what else hurts is Brad Hopkins doesn't have to grab him because Eddie George is already back to the outside. He's already running.
Holding number 72.
Yeah.
10 yards. Repeat first down.
284 yards in penalties. Jeez.
Here, watch number 72. He's going to come out your way right about now, and he's going to pull some. Oh, there it is.
Pulls Eric Barton down to the ground.
And then he throws his arms like what did I do?
It wasn't me, honest.
So they move it back to the 30, where it's 1st and 20.
I'm only 6'3" and 305. I'll go high.
Raiders still haven't had to use those 2 timeouts. Eddie George again cuts it back against the grain, gets about 3. There's a timeout. Let's check in with Susie.
Well, if you ask Steve McNair, he's not the best quarterback in the family. That title belongs to his older brother, Fred. How impressed are you with little brother?
I think he did a fine job for them tonight against the Raiders. He's been playing tremendous ball, and I think it's just a matter of his ability as to.
You know, Mike, in an interview with him, and we had that soundbite with Steve McNair. He said he didn't get invited to the Pro Bowl. He says, I guess I have to play better. I mean, come on, isn't that great?
He's doing it.
Oh man, what a fine young man he is.
2nd and 17. The Raiders can only stop it one more time as Eddie George reaches the 25. Now here's an interesting choice for you. Say they run and get a couple of more yards. The clock is winding down. Do you go for what would now be a 42-yard field goal, or do you punt it down inside the 5?
I think you go for a 42-yard field goal because what it will do is it'll give you a 5-point lead. If you down it, then you give them the ball. And, you know, I mean, with Sebastian Janikowski, I was out there in warm-ups. I watched him kick a 58-yarder with room to spare.
Stay tuned for Sports Center. Stuart Scott Van Pelt. Rice on schooling the youngsters, surprise decisions, and bad decisions in the NFL today. Chris Berman along with the top 10 plays. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com. The only thing you risk with a field goal outside of a potential block or a bad snap is if you don't make it, you're giving up field position. Now they've got to get 40 yards instead of 65 to have a field goal try.
Yeah, but if you punt it, let's say you punt it into the end zone.
Why would you punt it for the 25? Just run another play. They're going to get the clock started here, then they're going to run out 40.
But then you're really not giving up field position if you run another play. You run some time off, but the clock will stop at the change of possession.
McNair naked bootleg, wide open. Got down to the 15-yard line, and now you've got a 32-yard field goal to try. Oh, what a pretty play.
How do you not watch him?
And what's going to happen is they will run this clock down as far as it can. They might even take a 5-yard penalty here just to be able to burn that much time off the clock.
Everybody in the house waiting on Eddie George for another carry, and McNair says, gotcha.
Oh, and he was going for the first down, too. There was no running out of bounds for Steve McNair or sliding.
This is going to set up Craig Hendrick for a field goal try.
Well, they don't have to take a penalty. They'll go down and take a timeout. They have 2 of them left. They'll go down to 1 second and call timeout. There it is.
And Hendrick does just that with 36 ticks on the clock. The punter is already hit from 34 and 49. This would be his shortest field goal attempt of the night.
I will say this. The other 2 kicks came out fairly low. It's not something, it's something he practices, but not like you say a Joe Nedney would.
Right.
The big thing for the Raiders is if you're going to get a push it up the middle, get your hands up. If you got a chance, that's the only way you do.
Joey's adding excitement to it. Go get him, Joey.
You like that?
Monday Night Countdown at 7:30 on ESPN. The best place to get ready for Monday Night Football. Then on ABC at 9, the Monday Night Game with Warren Sapp and the Super Bowl champion Bucks against Donovan McNabb and the Eagles as they open up that beautiful new stadium in Philadelphia.
We talked about payback.
Oh, yeah.
The Eagles are looking for a little bit of payback. But, boy, we did Tampa Bay in our first preseason game. They still look darn good.
Hendrick out of the hold of Drew Bennett. And Hendrick is a perfect 3-for-3.
Now, does he get Nedney's contract?
I don't think
That's
so.
the second time you've asked, and he's still not going to get it.
Nedney's hoping not.
Boy, I'll tell you what, isn't that something? I mean, that is really neat where you see a guy who is a punter, and, you know, he doesn't really practice field goal kicking a lot, and Nedney is all for him.
Nedney's got to be saying, hey, look, I'll punt for you next week. Hendrick, who hadn't kicked one since 2000, slips this one inside the right upright. And Joe Nedney, so happy for his teammate.
Kudos to Drew Bennett, the holder.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Craig Hendrick has usually been the holder. That's not an easy job.
All right, now let me just give you one other thing. Now, Nedney and Hendrick, we watch these guys together. They're always together, the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Now, Nedney's going to be rehabbing. Who does Hendrick talk to? He's going to be by himself.
You and I are going to have to come back.
He's going to be by himself walking around. Somebody please talk to me.
Are you available at the league minimum, Mr. McGuire?
Oh.
32 seconds to go. The first thing I don't do is I don't kick the ball all the way down the field because Jenkins has the ability to take it all the way back. This is going to be very critical for Tennessee's kick coverage team to stay in their lanes because if he can get it up around the 35, 40-yard line, they'll have a chance.
They pooch this one high. Oh, if he lets it go out of bounds, they get it at the 40. What a mistake by Ronnie Jenkins.
Maybe Marty Schottenheimer knew something.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
That's a 24-yard mistake. Holy cow.
That ball is, I mean, if you're that close, let it go.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, though. You don't know if it's going to bounce that way. That thing can go.
Paul.
Come on, you just don't know.
No, but I'm saying you're standing there.
Oh, Rod Woodson thought it was going out.
I mean, this guy here returns kicks for a living.
Rich Gannon, 18 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. This one would be a miracle because he does not have any timeouts, and he's got to get a touchdown.
Probably 4 plays.
Well, I'll tell you what they're looking at. There was 32 seconds on the clock, and he touches the ball. Now, should 1 or 2 seconds be run off?
At least one. Of course, we've seen the Music City miracle here.
They did. They ran 1 second off the clock because the ball was touched in the playing field.
If the Raiders came back, it would be a sour note.
Three-man rush. Gannon to Garner. Stays in the field to play. Charlie Garner got a block. Got another block. Tim Brown, are you kidding? Tim Brown in his 16th year just destroyed somebody.
All that time.
Clock still running.
Got him 10 yards.
But Charlie Garner was trying to break that. He should have gotten out of bounds, but he was trying to break it.
And you can't blame him. He was trying to break it. But on the end of this, you're going to see number 81, Tim Brown, just label something. And I don't know who this is. Right there. Oh, my.
7 seconds to go in the game.
That was Andre Dyson.
Tennessee drops 3 players back inside its own 30. Do the Raiders have a miracle? Gannon for Rice. 2 seconds left. When you see how smart Jerry Rice is, held his arms up like possibly he was being held trying to draw the flag.
That's what Gannon said. They pushed him.
The Raiders rang up 93 points against this team in 2 games last year. They beat them in the AFC Championship game. 2 seconds away from revenge for the Titans.
They've got 15 more games to play, but tonight they're going to feel mighty good.
Garner incomplete. That's it. The Titans have done it.